Chapter 91. Is it the face-preserving pill that won't change one's appearance even if one dies of old age after consuming it? Aoi asked in astonishment. It might be a little exaggerated to say that it won't change at all, but it will only change a little. Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. 13. Where did you get this treasure? Aoi looked at Night Sorrow excitedly. She could not understand how he could get his hands on such a pill. It's an unexpected gain. 6th senior sister, give this face-preserving pill to 9th senior sister when the time comes. Night Sorrow took out a jade screen and said. Your 9th senior sister doesn't need it. As long as she reaches the 5th level of the void inquiry stage, her appearance will not change. Sikong Chuyu told Night Sorrow about the general knowledge of cultivation. I see. Then I won't give it to her. 6th senior sister, this is also for you. Night Sorrow took out Huang Jun's storage ring and passed it to Aoi. This storage ring was not as big as Night Sorrow's original storage ring. In addition, when Night Sorrow saw that Aoi was still using a storage belt, he planned to give it to her. This is? Aoi asked while holding the storage ring. Storage ring. Give it to me first. I'll remove the ownership. Night Sorrow reached out his hand and took the storage ring from Aoi's hand. He circulated his true chi and forced the drop of blood out of the storage ring. Some spiritual treasures needed to recognize their owners, and storage rings were considered the lowest grade of spiritual treasures. Normally, there were only 3 ways to remove the ownership. The first way was the owner's death. The second way was if the person who obtained the spiritual treasure was strong enough to erase the original owner's imprint. The third way was for the owner to take back control of the spiritual treasure. 13. Don't. Just keep it. Senior sister's storage belt is also a supreme grade spiritual treasure. Aoi tried to stop Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow's actions were very fast. When she spoke, Night Sorrow had already removed the ownership. 6th senior sister, I've had this for a while. Night Sorrow waved his left hand and showed his storage ring to Aoi. You sure are rich. Seeing that Night Sorrow still had a storage ring, Aoi took it without hesitation. Sikong, you have a storage ring. Don't look at me like that, Night Sorrow said when he saw Sikong Chuyu staring at him. If I don't have one, will you give it to me? Sikong Chuyu asked with a smile. Yes, of course. Night Sorrow nodded without hesitation. 6th senior sister took advantage of you. Aoi took the storage ring and put it on her finger. Sister Aoi, your junior brother is really good to you. Sikong Chuyu glanced at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow smiled and got up to make tea. Aoi asked about the origin of Night Sorrow's storage ring. Yishang didn't hide anything and told him everything he'd gained this time. I didn't expect you to be so lucky. When do you plan to go to Lu Shan's cave abode? Aoi asked. Later. I plan to learn a movement technique. My movement technique is slow and inflexible in battle. That's a huge weakness, Night Sorrow said. I have a movement technique here. Take it and try it. Sikong Chuyu thought for a moment before taking out a book and handing it to Night Sorrow. Starter 2. Night Sorrow didn't take the book. He glanced at Sikong Chuyu and shook his head. This isn't suitable. Regardless of whether it was in a sect or a family, the cultivation techniques of every force couldn't be leaked. Night Sorrow didn't want Sikong Chuyu to face problems in the future. This is mine. My grandfather gave it to me. Take it. Sikong Chuyu grabbed Night Sorrow's hand and stuffed the book into Night Sorrow's hand. Sikong, we are all friends. Under normal circumstances, we won't stand on ceremony. However, this book isn't suitable. Aoi also spoke up. She didn't want Sikong to be scolded in the future. Then I'll say a few more words. My grandfather is a very strong cultivator. He created his own force. He won't care about the inheritance of these battle techniques. Take it and cultivate. Sikong Chuyu smiled at Night Sorrow. Hearing Sikong Chuyu's words, Night Sorrow put away the book. Aoi told Night Sorrow that she would take care of those women. He didn't need to worry about them. Cultivating diligently was the most important thing. Yishang also mentioned that he had entered Sumu. It seems Sumu walks the same path as you. You both value actual combat. His cultivation base is much higher than yours. That's your disadvantage. Sikong Chiyu analyzed. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood Sikong Chiyu's words. Night Sorrow didn't plan on continuing to do missions. He wanted to raise his true chi cultivation base as quickly as possible. He also wanted to cultivate the myriad Dao Tome to the muscle-strengthening realm. When Night Sorrow went back to cultivate, Aoi gathered the women he had brought with him. After asking for their opinions, Aoi took out her command medallion and sent Little Six to Danding City to find Su Zhonglin. Su Zhonglin arranged for these women to be escorted to Zhuyuan town. Su Zhonglin was the supervisor of the outer disciples of the Taishan Peak. He also managed all the businesses of the Taishan Peak. He was also the second protector of the Taishan Peak. He had always been stationed in Danding City. Aoi also gave the women some gold notes. A portion of it was for Father Gu. The rest was for them to settle down in Zhuyuan town. Night Sorrow opened the movement technique manual that Sikong Chiyu had given him. This manual was called Dragon Soar to the Nine Heavens. It was divided into 3 levels, Dragon Leap, Dragon Soar, and Dragon Soar. Night Sorrow opened the chapter on Dragon Leap and started to study it. After reading it, Night Sorrow smiled. The most difficult part of cultivating Dragon Soar to the Nine Heavens was to open up certain meridians in the legs. However, Night Sorrow's meridians were all open. With the book in hand, Night Sorrow moved around the room and practiced the Dragon Leap movement technique. There was a bed, a desk, and a chair in Yishang's cultivation room. Night Sorrow moved faster and faster. However, his body didn't touch the desk or the chair. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow was very satisfied. He put down the manual, took the reincarnation spear, and went to the center of the courtyard. He executed the Chasing Wind spear art. While executing the Chasing Wind spear art, Night Sorrow also executed the Dragon Leap steps. His body would sometimes advance and sometimes retreat. His movements were erratic. In the beginning, he was still a little shaky. However, his body slowly became more and more agile. This made Sikong Chiyu, who was watching from the side, mutter, "Sister Aoi, Night Sorrow is too much. I cultivated Dragon Soar to the 9 heavens and earth and used over 10 days to open up my meridians. This guy took it for one night and now he's cultivating it. Hee 13. I don't know about him. However, he is indeed too much. He cultivated a rank 2 combat skill when he was only at rank 1. He is the second one among us to cultivate Heaven Covering Hand. 9th junior sister cultivated Heaven Covering Hand only after she had a certain cultivation foundation. Aoi said with a smile. Chapter 92. Sure, as long as there's an invitation. I'll invite you when the time comes. Aoi said with a smile. Then I'll definitely go. Don't forget Sister Aoi. Sikong Chiyu nodded. Okay. Aoi nodded. Night Sorrow was getting more and more familiar with his footwork as he practiced his spear arts. After watching Night Sorrow train, Aoi picked up her sword and appeared in front of Night Sorrow in a flash. She attacked Night Sorrow with her sword. Night Sorrow, who was under attack, began to counterattack. After Night Sorrow counterattacked, Aoi began to defend. She didn't suppress her cultivation. She waved her sword and forced Night Sorrow back again and again. Night Sorrow loosened and tightened his grip to control the rebound force. Night Sorrow's strength was strong, but Aoi's chi was stronger. Her chi completely neutralized Night Sorrow's strength. It was even transmitted to Night Sorrow's hands and arms through her weapon. This made Night Sorrow, who had a strong grip, have to tighten and relax his grip to control the force transmitted to him. After being forced back, Night Sorrow continued to charge forward. He used dragon leap steps and wind spear arts to continuously attack Aoi. He wasn't worried about hurting Aoi. The difference in their cultivation was too big. Night Sorrow kept on attacking, while Aoi stood in place and kept on defending. She mainly wanted Night Sorrow to unleash all of his attacks. Stop. You're tormenting me to death. My arms are numb. After fighting for 15 minutes, Aoi shouted. Most, Zero quickly go to GG. After Aoi shouted, Night Sorrow stopped. Can you bear it? Aren't your arms numb? Don't they hurt? Aoi asked curiously as she looked at Night Sorrow's lifeless body. Every time I attack, senior apprentice sisters Shunchi will reflect a bit of pain, and then I'll be fine, Night Sorrow said. Sister Aoi, is he really that crazy? Sikong Chuyu said with a smile. I'm not going to argue with him. I'll call Old Nine over in a few days. Old Nine is very strong. Let Old Nine train him. Aoi said as she swung her arms. Sixth senior sister, what's the matter? Why did you call me? Suddenly, a voice rang out. Yang Lei, who was wearing a green robe and a white veil, had arrived. Ninth junior sister is here. I just practiced with 13 for a while. My arms can't take it anymore. Aoi said while rubbing her arms. So ruthless. Let me give it a try. 13, can you do it? Yang Lei asked Night Sorrow. Of course. Night Sorrow nodded. Okay, then let's do it. I haven't used a weapon for many years. Yang Lei took out a 3-inch wide and 4-foot long black sword from her storage ring. Night Sorrow's feet shook. He took 3 steps forward and thrust his spear towards Yang Lei's right arm. You're still being polite with me. Back off. Yang Lei swung her right arm and the black sword swung towards Night Sorrow's spear. However, the result was different from Yang Lei's expectations. When the weapons clashed, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear vibrated violently and blocked Yang Lei's black sword. It continued to slash towards Yang Lei. At this moment, Yang Lei extended 2 fingers on her left hand and tapped the reincarnation spear's body. The reincarnation spear that didn't have enough momentum was knocked away. You're really not simple. Continue. Yang Lei shook the sword in her right hand and said. Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward and brandished his spear once again. After Yang Lei switched places with Aoi, Night Sorrow poured all of his vibration energy into the spear. He knew that among Yu Yang Yu's disciples, Yang Lei was the only one who had cultivated the heaven-covering hand. Her body was the toughest and her strength was also the strongest. Yang Lei was the same as Aoi. She only defended and attacked, allowing Night Sorrow to continuously attack. Following the continuous attacks and continuous repulsion, Night Sorrow discovered that his arms were shaken. The energy in his flesh and blood circulated faster and deeper. This battle continued for more than an hour before Night Sorrow stopped. His true chi and the energy in his body were completely exhausted. Alright, this is the best time to cultivate. Hurry up and cultivate, Yang Lei said after sheathing her sword. Night Sorrow nodded towards Yang Lei, Aoi, and Sikong Chuyu. He returned to his room to cultivate. He also knew that when his true chi and body were exhausted, it was the best time to cultivate. Not only is the 13 strength Dao extremely powerful, the vibration energy in the spear technique is also very hard to deal with. Yang Lei rubbed her fingers as she watched Night Sorrow's figure disappear. It's good that you're here. I can't afford to be your sparring partner, Aoi said. Alright, that's not a big deal. I cultivate wherever I go. This time, I brought Ziming, Chu Ning, Ma Zhuang, and Tang Tian. Ziming will cultivate with me. Chu Ning, Ma Zhuang, and Tang Tian have all entered the essence gathering realm. They're going to Tianji Tower to complete a mission. They're shopping and will come over later, Yang Lei said. Ziming was Jiang Ziming, Yang Lei's disciple. Their cultivation speed is very fast. However, compared to 13, they're still a lot slower, Aoi said. Yang Lei nodded. Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and Ma Zhuang were all very outstanding. However, compared to Night Sorrow, they were still a lot slower. In the following days, once Night Sorrow's true chi and body were full of energy, he would spar with Yang Lei. Once his true chi and body were exhausted, he would cultivate. This made Chu Ning, Tang Tian, Ma Zhuang, and Jiang Ziming, who had arrived at Longquan Courtyard, very shocked. They didn't expect Night Sorrow to be so strong. When Night Sorrow went to cultivate, Ma Zhuang and Yang Lei sparred once. Yang Lei used the same strength and Ma Zhuang's long sword was sent flying. No need to doubt. I used the same strength just now. I didn't control my cultivation. Yang Lei looked at Ma Zhuang and the others and said. 13th uncle is too powerful, Chu Ning said. 13 was glared at by Yang Lei, so she quickly changed her words. If you want to do the task, then do it. If you're not sure, then stay here and cultivate. By the way, 9th junior sister, how is Shenrong doing? Aoi looked at Yang Lei and asked. He's doing well with eldest senior brother. Eldest senior brother is stricter than you. He needs to suffer a bit, but now he has gone to 3rd senior brother. Eldest senior brother is in seclusion. Yang Lei said with a smile. Shenrong was Aoi's disciple. When Aoi came to Longquan Courtyard, she handed Shenrong to Gong Xian. Gong Xian was now in seclusion, so he was handed over to Nan Nan. The days of practicing with Yang Lei and then going to cultivate hard made Night Sorrow's cultivation progress very fast. When his true chi and energy in his body were exhausted, he would use spirit congealing pills and blood essence pills to replenish them. Then he would practice with them again. This was a process of consumption and precipitation. His cultivation progress was fast, but it was not superficial at all. When Night Sorrow practiced with Yang Lei again, Ma Zhuang, Tang Tian, and Chu Ning came back. All 3 of them were bruised and swollen. What's the matter? Yang Lei, who stopped practicing with Night Sorrow, was full of anger. We went to take the task and were scolded by a person. We didn't accept it, so we were beaten. Chu Ning said while rubbing his black and blue eyes. Who is the other party? Yang Lei asked coldly. He said his name is Su Mu. Chu Ning said, still rubbing his eyes. He was hit with a panda eye. Chapter 93. That bastard. He dares to play this game just because his cultivation is high. Yang Lei narrowed her eyes filled with killing intent. Yang Lei knew about Su Mu's situation. Now that he appeared, it was obvious that he was targeting Taishan Peak. 9th Martial Ant, the 3 of us were no match for him. We were defeated by him, Tang Tian said with a bitter face. If you know you're no match for him, then work hard to cultivate. No shame and be brave. Yang Lei was very angry, but she also knew that it wasn't their fault. Su Mu had cultivated longer than them, and he was talented. After reprimanding the 3 of them, Yang Lei walked towards the outside. 9th junior sister, where are you going? Aoi stopped Yang Lei. Who dares to touch my Taishan Peak's people? I'll break his claws right now, Yang Lei said coldly. It's meaningless. We'll wait for 13 to deal with him, Aoi persuaded. Yang Lei flung her sleeves and sat down. She was very angry. How many years had it been since anyone dared to provoke Taishan Peak? Those who provoked Guanyi didn't know the situation and didn't open their eyes. Now, someone dared to mess around. 9th junior sister, if we touch him, 9 Peak will definitely spread the news. We're afraid of losing face in the sect competition and falling into a trap. At that time, Master will also lose face. Aoi pointed out the key point. I know, but I can't take this lying down. When I return to Taishan Peak later, I'll send a letter of challenge to 9 Peak's tycoon. If he wants to slap their face, then he'll slap them back. Yang Lei's face was ashen as she made another decision. Watch little TJ speak for free forever. Tai Kun was the eldest disciple of the Nine Peak, but in terms of strength, he was inferior to Gong Xian and Yang Lei. He was ranked 7th on the heaven ranking. In the past, Yang Lei could suppress him, but now that Yang Lei had entered the 5th stage, it was even easier. Now that Yang Lei had broken through to Tier 5, he automatically withdrew from the heaven leaderboard. Even if he defeated Tai Kun, it would not affect Tai Kun's ranking on the heaven leaderboard. I'm not against it, but there's no rush. Let's train 13 first, Aoi expressed her opinion. Yang Lei gave it some thought before nodding. She knew that if she wanted to smack Nine Peak in the face openly, she had to let a rookie from Taishan Peak defeat Su Mu in the Battle of the Rookies. When he was sparring with Yang Lei again, Night Sorrow felt that something was wrong. In the past, Yang Lei would laugh and laugh during sparring, but now, she did not speak. She would occasionally counterattack, attacking Night Sorrow's openings. However, she did not overdo it. After the sparring session, Night Sorrow went to take a bath. After taking a bath, he did not see Yang Lei, but he did see Sikong Chuyu. Sikong, I feel that something is wrong with 9th senior sister. What happened? Night Sorrow walked over to Sikong Chuyu, who was watching fish by the side of the courtyard's pond. Sikong Chuyu told him what had happened. After hearing Sikong Chuyu's words, Night Sorrow was very angry. He planned to go to Tianji Tower to find Su Mu. Don't let other people's actions affect your own plans. It's hard to say if you can find him. Besides, your chances of winning aren't high. Your strength is rapidly increasing. If you drag it out until the Battle of the Rookies, your chances will increase significantly, Sikong Chuyu said as he tugged at Night Sorrow's robes. Sikong, isn't fighting forbidden in Danding City? Why did that guy dare to beat people up? Night Sorrow asked the question he was puzzled about. They did it at the entrance of Tianji Tower. Before the city guards arrived, your 3 martial nephews were already defeated. Su Mu left immediately. Even if the city guards arrived in time, would they be able to touch a second-generation disciple of Nine Peak? Besides, since Nine Peak dared to let Su Mu out, there must be people secretly following him. Sikong Chuyu explained the situation to Night Sorrow and analyzed it. Night Sorrow nodded at Sikong Chuyu. Are you used to this place? If there's anything you need, tell me. I'll help you. Don't run out. Sikong Chuyu smiled at Night Sorrow. I'm used to it. Sorry for disturbing you. Don't say that. If you like it, you can have the loft. You look really good when you smile, Night Sorrow said emotionally as he looked at Sikong Chuyu's smiling face. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Sikong Chuyu blushed. Aside from Night Sorrow, no one had ever said that to him before. Following Sikong Chuyu's nod, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. A few days ago, he had eaten a dragon bone pill and cultivated the myriad Dao Tome to the peak of the 8th level of the blood refining realm. He needed to stabilize his cultivation base. Once he stabilized his cultivation base, he would break through to the 9th level of the blood refining realm and enter the muscle strengthening realm as quickly as possible. The Medicine Valley is very complicated. It's really inappropriate for him to get involved. He shouldn't have to shoulder all this. Yang Lei came to Sikong Chuyu's side. That's true. He's still young, so the pressure is a bit greater. However, I believe he can handle it. Sikong Chuyu shook his head. I won't hide it from you. Over the years, our Taishan Peak has been walking a different path from the other peaks. The other peaks don't get along with us, so 13 and the others have many opponents. Yang Lei said worriedly. In the Medicine Valley, every disciple had their own resources. Every peak also had their own resources. Because of Guan Ye's matter, Yu Yangyu didn't want to waste his resources on mediocre people, so he didn't accept any new disciples. However, the Taishan Peak still had the same amount of resources. This caused many peaks to feel unbalanced and wanted to join forces to suppress the Taishan Peak. However, because of the strength of the Taishan Peak, they didn't dare to act rashly. This year, the Taishan Peak accepted a 3rd-generation disciple, causing the other peaks to feel uneasy. It's not a big deal. Every force and sect is different. In some cultivation families, the competition between brothers is even crueler and more impersonal. Sikong Chuyu took a deep breath and said. Some of the things around her were the result of family struggles. Yang Lei didn't continue. She was worried that if the situation continued, the Medicine Valley wouldn't be able to withstand the suppression of the Golden Flame sect. Yu Yangyu had mentioned to her in private that some people in the Medicine Valley had even been bought over by the Golden Flame sect. After cultivating for 2 more days, Night Sorrow went into seclusion. He wanted to break through to the 9th level of the blood-refining realm with the Myriad Tao scripture. Su Mu's appearance made Night Sorrow feel pressured. This had nothing to do with him personally, but it was related to the glory of the Taishan Peak. He couldn't back down. Aoi and Sikong Chuyu were surprised to learn that Night Sorrow was going into seclusion. Night Sorrow was still some distance away from the peak of the 1st level of Element Gathering Realm, so there was no need for him to go into seclusion. Training with Yang Lei every day was the fastest and most effective way to cultivate. Logically speaking, Night Sorrow shouldn't have made such a choice. However, Yang Lei seemed to have sensed something. She didn't say anything about Night Sorrow going into seclusion. Night Sorrow sat in the quiet room. First, he stabilized his cultivation. Then, he ate a blood essence pill and began to break through. This time, Night Sorrow wanted to open up the tendons in his neck. Controlling the energy in his blood, Night Sorrow began to attack the tendons in his neck, opening up some small tendons one by one. Chapter 94. The neck was the most important part of both humans and demon beasts. There were many small meridians there. If Night Sorrow wanted to enter a deeper level of the Myriad Tao Tome, he would have to open up all the meridians in his body, allowing the energy in his blood to spread throughout his body. Currently, Night Sorrow's meridians below his neck had all been opened up, leaving only his neck and head. If all the meridians in his neck were opened up, then Night Sorrow would enter the 9th level of the blood-refining realm. If his head and body were opened up, then he would enter the muscle-strengthening realm. As the energy in his body circulated and attacked, Night Sorrow's neck seemed to be crawling like an earthworm. His face also turned red. The pain and itchiness coming from his neck, as well as the feeling of suffocation, made Night Sorrow very uncomfortable. But he forced himself to endure it and increased the speed of his energy attack. The difficulty of entering the 9th level of the blood-refining realm was to be fast. If he was too slow, he would suffocate or even faint, resulting in the failure of his breakthrough. The greater the impact, the more intense the pain and itchiness. Night Sorrow wanted to pray for more pain, less itchiness, and less suffocation, but that wasn't the case. The 3 negative feelings attacked him in waves, making it unbearable for Night Sorrow. This situation aroused Night Sorrow's anger. He clenched his fists so hard that his fingernails dug into his palms. This allowed him to maintain his consciousness and control the energy in his body to continuously attack. Just as Night Sorrow was about to suffocate, Night Sorrow opened up most of the meridians in his neck, causing the suffocating feeling to subside a little. Currently, the greatest threat to Night Sorrow was suffocation. With the feeling of suffocation subside a little, Night Sorrow's sense of urgency lessened. The main thing was that his mind became a lot clearer. Now that his mind was clear, Night Sorrow continued to control his energy to open up the meridians in his neck. Without the problem of suffocation, Night Sorrow's speed of opening up his meridians sped up. In less than 2 hours, all the meridians in his neck had been opened up. After opening up the meridians in his neck, Night Sorrow's energy began to circulate even more smoothly. He stabilized his cultivation base and cultivated all the way until dawn. After finishing his cultivation, he stood up and stretched his neck. Night Sorrow's neck made cracking sounds. Night Sorrow stood up and threw a punch forward. With a punch, a vortex of air appeared in front of Night Sorrow's fist. Following that, Night Sorrow threw out a few more punches. He realized that his strength didn't increase much after his advancement, but the energy in his body flowed more smoothly. After taking a bath, Night Sorrow went to the lobby of the courtyard. "Sir, do you need me to clean up your room?" Hai Luo, who was cleaning up the hall, asked. All right. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and then brought Hai Luo to his room to clean. He knew that Hai Luo would be a member of the Dragon Spring Courtyard in the future, so he didn't need to be too polite. If he was too polite, Hai Luo would feel uncomfortable. When he returned to the lobby, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, who were taking a walk outside, entered the lobby. Ninth senior sister, Sikong, don't you need to cultivate? Night Sorrow greeted them with a smile. We are different from you. Sometimes, the state of mind is very important. Taking a walk and drinking tea are all part of cultivation. Yang Lei said with a smile. Yi Shang, I feel that your essence, energy, and spirit are different. Sikong sized up Yi Shang and said. Yes, I had a breakthrough in another direction. Night Sorrow nodded. 56b. Yong. Jiu L, Fei 9 and look small, y, say square root 3, these are the robes that Sikong and I bought for you yesterday. You don't lack money, so treat yourself well. Yang Lei took out a few robes and boots and handed them to Night Sorrow. I have been wearing the robes that Auntie Lin made for me since I was young. I am used to it. Night Sorrow looked at the robes he was wearing and said. Let's go. Let's continue training. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. Not yet. I have to stabilize my cultivation. Night Sorrow shook his head and said. Hurry up and raise your cultivation. Combat skills are one thing, but cultivation is the most important. Yang Lei nodded. After eating something and watching Little Six feed Tianyu, Night Sorrow returned to his room to stabilize his cultivation. Seeing Night Sorrow go to cultivate, Yang Lei went to a loft on the east side of the courtyard. Chu Ning, Tang Tian, Ma Zhuang, and Jiang Ziming were all there. Get up. Is this a pigsty? Entering the hall of the loft, Yang Lei was angry because these guys were too dirty. There were even shorts and socks in the hall. Hearing Yang Lei's roar, Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and the others came out with their clothes in disarray. They quickly cleaned up. You can't even do this. What else can you do? Details. Sometimes, details can save lives, but they can also lead to death. Hurry up and clean up. Are you still sleeping? I've never seen your 13th uncle sleep. After saying that, Yang Lei raised her leg and gave each of the 4 people a kick. After yelling, Yang Lei left angrily. In the hall of the courtyard's main building, Oi met Yang Lei. Ninth junior sister, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? Those bastards. You didn't see it. Their residence has become a pigsty. They are all sleeping with their arms naked and even snoring. Yang Lei sat down and said. They are still young. You can teach them slowly. Aoi said with a smile after hearing the reason for Yang Lei's anger. They were beaten black and blue a few days ago. Don't they know how to work hard? If they don't work hard, the pressure will be on 13th uncle's shoulders. 13th uncle is younger than them. Yang Lei said agitatedly. Aoi didn't continue speaking. She also felt the same way. If Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and the others didn't work hard, then Night Sorrow would be under more pressure. After cultivating for an entire morning, Night Sorrow came out in the afternoon. After entering the hall, Night Sorrow didn't see Yang Lei and asked Sikong Chuyu, where's ninth senior sister? She's at the practice field in front. She's a little unhappy. Sikong Chuyu said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu came to the practice field. In the practice field, Yang Lei, who was holding a rattan in one hand, was training Tang Tian and the others in martial arts. Seeing this scene, Night Sorrow laughed. Gong Xian was a rattan, and so was Yang Lei. Did people from Taishan Peak have the habit of using rattan to educate their disciples? 13th uncle, save me. Chu Ning bitterly shouted at Night Sorrow. I'll let you shout. Yang Lei waved her arm and a few rattan landed on Chu Ning's butt. Her face was filled with anger. Chu Ning didn't dare to utter a word. She quickly jumped to the side and looked at Night Sorrow anxiously. 13th uncle, spar with the four of them. Let them feel that there is a huge gap between people of the same level. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow nodded and picked up the reincarnation spear behind him. He planned to spar casually. Chapter 95. Seeing Night Sorrow's hesitation, Aoi, who had followed them, said, Don't be afraid of hurting them. If they can't be brave after being humiliated, then they are just like that. Night Sorrow nodded. Are you guys ready? Come. Following Night Sorrow's words, Tang Tian raised his battle blade and slashed towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow held his reincarnation spear horizontally in front of him and flicked it out. Ding! With a crisp sound, Tang Tian's battle blade was flicked away by Night Sorrow's spear. Night Sorrow's arm had the strength of a few thousand jin. In addition, there were more than 30 vibrational forces. How could Tang Tian still hold on to his battle blade? After the battle blade was flung away, Tang Tian's body was also jolted backwards. Ignoring Tang Tian, Night Sorrow flicked his right wrist and stabbed towards Ma Shizhuang. Open for me. Ma Shizhuang's battle blade slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Tang Tian's situation also happened to Ma Shizhuang. After the battle blade was flung away, Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear's trajectory did not change. It pierced towards Ma Shizhuang's chest and cut off 2 buttons of his robe. Following that, Night Sorrow executed dragon leap steps and dodged Chu Ning and Jiang Ziming's attacks. Then, he quickly stabbed out with his reincarnation spear, causing Chu Ning and Jiang Ziming's weapons to be flung away. After doing all this, Night Sorrow's right hand flicked and the reincarnation spear was slung over his back. Chu Ning, Tang Tian and the rest were dumbstruck. They were originally much stronger than Night Sorrow. How long had it been? Only a few months had passed and they were already on a completely different level from Night Sorrow. They didn't even have the qualifications to fight with him. 13th uncle, you are a second-generation disciple. Us third-generation disciples can't be compared to you. Chu Ning said with some disappointment. Update our fastest MUP, what are you all thinking? Do you all think that 13th uncle is a second-generation disciple and will get more than you all? After 13 enters the sect, he will receive the same amount of resources as all of you. As for the rest, it is the result of 13's own hard work. Looking at Chu Ning and the others, Aoi was furious. She knew that Chu Ning and the others were too pessimistic in finding excuses for themselves. I'm very disappointed in all of you. Go back and think about it. Yang Lei sighed. 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, they just haven't gotten over it yet. Chu Tian, Tongning, we've known each other for a long time, so I don't have much to say. Back in Juyuan village, Father Gu once told me that as long as you want to, you can do it, Night Sorrow said. Thank you for your teachings, 13th uncle, Chu Ning, Tongning, and the others cupped their hands towards Night Sorrow. Today's events had greatly affected them. In order to deal a blow to Taishan Peak, Nainin Peak created Sumu. None of you are a match for Sumu, so 13th uncle has to work hard and take on the responsibility of you newcomers. Although you are stronger than the average person, remember that you are disciples of Taishan Peak. It's okay to get beaten up once, but you can't keep getting beaten up in the future. Go back, Yang Lei said to them. Tongning and the others bowed and left. 9th senior sister, will they be affected? Night Sorrow asked after Chu Ning and the others left. No, they have perseverance. They have only suffered a little setback, Yang Lei said, shaking her head. After chatting for a while, it was time for Night Sorrow and Yang Lei to spar. During the spar, Yang Lei noticed that Night Sorrow's condition was different from yesterday. Putting aside the vibrating force on the reincarnation spear, Yang Lei could easily neutralize it with her Jin Qi. However, the pure force on the reincarnation spear was much smoother than it was a few days ago. The force behind each spear strike was sometimes strong and sometimes weak, causing Yang Lei to feel a little uncomfortable. After fighting with all his might for 2 hours, Night Sorrow smiled at Yang Lei and went to take a bath. To be able to fight at such a high intensity for so long, even if one was at the peak of element gathering realm, it would still be impossible. However, 13th uncle was able to persevere, Aoi said with some emotion. The strength of his body is very terrifying. Wave after wave of power surged like a tide. 13th uncle's cultivation of the strength of his body has improved again, Yang Lei said. 13th uncle is too hardworking in his cultivation. Children from ordinary families would still act spoiled in front of their parents at this age. Aoi felt a little heartache for Night Sorrow's hard work. Only by continuously working hard would he be able to defeat Sumu in the sect competition. When I think of that bastard, I get angry. I'm going to take a bath. After sparring with Night Sorrow for a while, Yang Lei was also sweating. After returning to his room, Night Sorrow began to cultivate again. He was now like a sponge, continuously absorbing energy and increasing his strength. After another round of cultivation, Night Sorrow went to the Great Hall and saw Yu Yangyu. Master, you've come. Seeing Yu Yangyu, Night Sorrow quickly bowed in greeting. I came to take a look. You've entered the element gathering realm. Not bad. Looks like you've worked very hard. Master already knows some things. You don't have to worry about the matter of Nine Peak. Cultivate as you should. The most important thing is to have a stable foundation. Don't ruin your foundation because of some external factors, Yu Yangyu said to Night Sorrow. Disciple understands. Night Sorrow bowed. You have a chance to fight him. The Elder Council has decided to change the rules of the sect competition. From this year onwards, all disciples who have been in the sect for 3 years are new disciples and can participate in the newcomer competition. In other words, you, Chu Ning, and the others can participate in the newcomer competition 3 times. Whether you're a dragon or a worm is not something that can be determined with just 1 round, Yu Yangyu said. Master, if 13th uncle's cultivation base increases quickly enough, he can participate in the elite disciple competition in 1 or 2 years. Why would he choose the newcomer competition? Yang Lei asked. That won't happen. It's up to the disciple to decide, Yu Yangyu said. Master, you don't know, but Nine Peak is very arrogant. That Sumu of theirs injured Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and Ma Zhuang. Yang Lei recounted what happened a few days ago. That's why I'm here. It's not just Chu Ning and the others. The disciples of Nine Peak and Tianyue Peak have joined forces to attack the other disciples of Taishan Peak. Some of your martial uncle's disciples were injured. This time, your 7th senior brother and 8th senior brother are here. How do they want to fight? We'll take them on, Yu Yangyu said after taking a sip of tea. Then I'll go too. I'll cripple that Sumu first, Yang Lei said excitedly. Sumu is just a little guy. There's no need to pay attention to him. You guys go deal with him and lower your status. Some of the 2nd generation disciples of Nine Peak came out. Go beat them back. If they want to fight, then we can't back down. Let's fight, Yu Yangyu said. Master, then I'll go. Yang Lei couldn't stay here any longer. She didn't want to let go of the opportunity to vent her anger. She had been suppressing her anger for the past 2 days. Chapter 96. Disciple understands. Night Sorrow bowed to Yu Yangyu again. It's good that you understand. Master and your senior brothers and sisters will handle the matters at Taishan Peak. You don't have to worry. Yu Yangyu said to Night Sorrow. Disciple understands. Night Sorrow nodded. Do you have any problems with your cultivation? Yu Yangyu changed the topic. No problem. 6th senior sister and 9th senior sister are here. They will guide disciple if I have any problems. Night Sorrow did not have any problems at the moment. He did not need any guidance in his cultivation of the myriad Dao Tome. His cultivation of the sacred cauldron scripture was also going smoothly. That's good. Ask them if you have any problems. Yu Yangyu was not worried about his disciples. Aoi and Yang Lei would not have any problems guiding Night Sorrow. After chatting with Night Sorrow for a while and giving Night Sorrow some energy-gathering pills, Yu Yangyu left. He still had some matters to deal with. After Yu Yangyu left, Night Sorrow continued to cultivate. Yang Lei was not around, so Night Sorrow did not torture Aoi. He knew that Aoi was not as strong as Yang Lei. It would be hard for her to train with him. Yang Lei returned on the third day. Zhou Zheng and Shi Tianlin also came. 7th senior brother and 8th senior brother are here. 9th senior sister, did it go well? Night Sorrow greeted them. It went well. I've crippled a few waves and chased away a few waves. They won't dare to come and do missions during this period of time. If not for Master's orders, I would have crippled that Sumu as well. Yang Lei said hatefully. Senior sister and senior brother came, and Yishang accompanied them for a drink. While drinking, Night Sorrow understood that Yu Yangyu had changed his attitude. Night Sorrow learned from Shi Tianlin that the Grand Elder of the Consecration Pagoda had come to talk to Yu Yangyu. He wanted Yu Yangyu to compete with Su Chenbai for the position of the next Valley Master. At the same time, he also knew that the turmoil in the Medicine Valley was about to begin. Taishan Peak would counterattack. Nine Peak, Tianyua Peak, and several other peak masters would also take action. However, Taishan Peak also had an ally, which was Yunhai Peak. Senior sister, you've dealt with the disciples of the Nine Peak. Is no one going to do anything about it? Night Sorrow asked. You mean the city guards of Danding City? At this time, Yushan can only play dead. He can't participate in the battle between the peaks of the Medicine Valley. Besides, by the time the city guards arrive, we'll have finished the battle. Yang Lei took a sip of wine and said. Then we fought for nothing. Will they let it go? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. If they can't do it physically, then they'll have to use their mouths. If they're not scolding them, they'll complain. Do whatever they want. 13. Come drink. Zhou Zheng poured a large bowl of wine for Yishang and one for himself. Just as Zhou Zheng said, Su Chenbai flew into a rage when he found out that several of his disciples had their arms and legs broken. His disciples couldn't beat them, so he couldn't do anything. As a peak master, he couldn't fight with the disciples of other peak masters. Even if Yang Lei hadn't broken through, the Nine Peak wouldn't have been able to withstand the attacks of the disciples of Taishan Peak. Gong Xian had occupied the first place of the heaven list for many years. Yang Lei was also firmly in the top 5. Su Chenbai's eldest disciple, Tai Kun, was only in the 7th place. H2 new /fastest up # master, how should we deal with this matter? Su Chenbai's third disciple, Jiang Shang, asked. Yu Yangyu, that bastard's disciples are all lunatics. Don't let your disciples fight with them. I'll go find the great elder. Su Chenbai planned to change his approach. Su Chenbai's original plan was to stop the other second-generation disciples of Taishan Peak from doing Tianji Tower missions and attack the morale of Taishan Peak. As Yu Yangyu's disciples didn't do Tianji Tower missions anymore, they wouldn't be able to meet them. Who would have thought that Yu Yangyu's disciples would still appear and fight back? Since they couldn't do anything, they could only change their approach and find other sects to suppress Taishan Peak. In the thatched hut behind Danding Peak, Su Chenbai met the great elder. Martial uncle, you have to control the disciples of Taishan Peak. Yu Yangyu allowed them to attack the disciples of other peaks. Many disciples of Nine Peak were crippled by them, Su Chenbai said with a bow. Then what's the reason? Did one of your Nine Peak's disciples provoke him first? If you want to blame someone, you have to discipline yourself first. The great elder refuted Su Chenbai's words without even opening his eyes. Martial uncle, Taishan Peak has gone too far. They have been overbearing for so many years and have never treated the other peaks as fellow disciples, Su Chenbai said after thinking for a while. I'll investigate this matter. If there's nothing else, you can go back first. Restrain your disciples. The great elder chased him away. Su Chenbai, who had left the thatched hut, frowned. He found it strange. In the past, even if the great elder didn't do anything, he would send someone to investigate. His words just now were clearly blaming Su Chenbai. What Su Chenbai didn't know was that the Grand Elders of Medicine Valley's worship pagoda had already made a decision. Most of them supported Yu Yangyu to be the next Valley Master. The Great Elder was also present when the decision was made. Su Chenbai left the thatched hut and didn't return to Ninein Peak. Instead, he went to the pine forest beside Danding Peak. There was a pagoda in the pine forest. It was the place where the second elder, Qian Wu, cultivated in seclusion. It was called the Pine Pagoda Forest. Master, disciple Chenbai wishes to see you. Su Chenbai bowed in front of the pagoda. Come in. The pagoda door opened without any wind. After entering the pagoda, Su Chenbai bowed and said, Master, something happened at Ninein Peak. Qian Wu opened his eyes and said, There are some things you don't know. Even if you didn't come, I would have gone to find you. It's like this. Many of the Grand Elders support Yu Yangyu to be the next Valley Master. You have to work hard. Master, how could this be? Su Chenbai was a little anxious after hearing Qian Wu's words. Qian Wu directly explained the reason. A long time ago, the Grand Elders of the Worship Pagoda were very supportive of Yu Yangyu. The most important reason was that Yu Yangyu's disciple had found the lost Holy Cauldron Sutra of Medicine Valley. Master, did you say that our Medicine Valley's Holy Cauldron Sutra was found? Su Chenbai asked in shock. Yes, it was found. The Grand Elders have already started cultivating. Currently, our Medicine Valley is only lacking the sect guarding spiritual treasure compared to the Golden Flame sect. If we can activate the 8-Dragon Cauldron, our Medicine Valley will no longer be suppressed, Qian Wu said. Then disciple has no chance. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Su Chenbai's eyes were full of shock. He had never thought that Yu Yangyu had already gained the support of most of the Grand Elders of the Worship Pagoda, which made some of his plans fall through. You have worked hard. Besides, it's not like you don't have a chance. You can communicate with Jean Can and contact the Peak Masters who are on good terms with you. The strength of a Valley Master is one thing, but popularity and leadership are also qualities that a Valley Master must have. Remember, don't cross the bottom line. You can fight, but you can't harm the interests of the Medicine Valley. Otherwise, I won't spare you. Chapter 97. After that, Su Chenbai went to Tianyua Peak with a gloomy face. He wanted to see Jean Can. In the attic behind the main hall of Tianyua Peak, Su Chenbai met Jean Can, senior brother. How do you have time to come to Tianyua Peak? Jean Can, the Peak Master of Tianyua Peak, greeted him. I came here from Master's place because I need your help, junior brother. Su Chen did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. What did Master say? Jean Can took a sip of tea and asked. Master hopes that junior brother can help me contact the other Peak Masters and help me ascend to the position of the next Valley Master, Su Chenbai said. Since Master said so, I will try my best. Yuan Tai of Wangyun Peak has a good relationship with me, so we can rope him in. Dai Tongyan of Green Rock Peak is not on good terms with Yu Yangyu. Plus, I have a good relationship with him, so there should be no problem. After hearing Qian Wu's suggestion, Jean Can revealed his power. So far, we have 4 votes, including you and me. Let's not talk about the main peak. We have to rope in at least 2 other peaks to have a chance of winning, Su Chenbai said after thinking for a while. Well, let's not consider Cloud Sea Peak and North Pole Peak. We can talk to Yi Xiling of Crepe Myrtle and Feng Yuan of Drifting Cloud Wind. Xue Qi of Bailu Peak depends on the situation. His position is hard to say. He is too stubborn, Jean Can said. After asking Jean Can for help, Su Chenbai left. The sudden situation caught him off guard. He knew that Jean Can could help him, but he was afraid that Jean Can would not take it seriously, so he brought up Qian Wu. The following days were chaotic. The disciples of Tianyue Peak, Naining Peak, and Wangyun Peak often provoked the disciples of Taishan Peak. The disciples of Taishan Peak could not bear it and started fighting. If they could not beat them, they would go back to Taishan Peak to find Yu Yangyu's disciples and fight back. Then, the disciples of Green Rock Peak also joined in the chaos and attacked the disciples of Taishan Peak. After being provoked continuously, the disciples of Taishan Peak were ruthless. As long as there was a provocation, they would beat them up. First Bin edition, the disciples of the Cloud Sea Peak and the North Pole Peak had joined the Taishan Peak side, causing the Naining Peak and the other peaks to calm down. Night Sorrow cultivated diligently, not caring about what was happening outside. He used 20 days to raise his cultivation level to the second level of element gathering tier. However, the cultivation speed of the 10,000 Daos tome slowed down. He had taken the Dragon Bone Pill to go from the 8th level of the Blood Refining tier to the 9th level of the Blood Refining tier, so he needed to stabilize his cultivation. After entering the second level of element gathering tier, the strength of Night Sorrow's Shin Qi increased once again, and the power of his Chasing Wind Spear arts increased once again. Now, Night Sorrow would practice the Wind Chasing Spear technique, Dragon Leaping Steps, and Jinyu Hand in the morning. In the afternoon and at night, he would practice Shin Qi and the Myriad Tao Tome. He was aware of the situation outside, but he understood that it was better for him to pretend that he didn't know. Because he didn't have the ability, it was now a battle between the second-generation disciples of the various peaks. Almost all the third-generation disciples had left. Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and Ma Zhuang no longer went to do missions. They brought Shenrong along to cultivate in the Dragon Spring Courtyard. Originally, Chu Ning and the others thought that Night Sorrow was stronger than them because Night Sorrow was a second-generation disciple and had more resources than them. However, during this period of time, they saw how Night Sorrow cultivated. It was as if cultivation was like eating rice. Chu Ning said that the difference was due to their attitude. Their cultivation speed was slow because their attitude towards cultivation was not as good as Night Sorrow's. In the first few days, they still wanted to practice actual combat with Night Sorrow. However, after a few rounds, no one wanted to practice with Night Sorrow anymore. The strength of Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was too strong. Even if he didn't use vibration force, they still couldn't hold their weapons. It wasn't that Night Sorrow didn't want to accompany them, but that Night Sorrow had no other choice. If he didn't use his strength and vibration force, what else could he cultivate? He was just a sparring partner. He didn't have the time. Although Yu Yangyu, Yang Lei, and the others felt that Night Sorrow could give up this year's competition for the newcomers and wait for the next 2 years to show his strength, Night Sorrow didn't want to give up. He knew that as long as there was an opportunity, he had to work hard. Only by working hard could he seize the opportunity. After leaving the Dragon Spring Courtyard for a few days, Yang Lei returned. During the chaotic battle in the Medicine Valley a few days ago, she ruthlessly dealt with the people from the few peaks. Those who were targeted by Yang Lei were definitely crippled. No one could escape unscathed. This made the peak masters of the other peaks very angry. They went to the Great Elder and the Valley Master to complain, but the Valley Master directly refused to see them. As for the Great Elder, he was sleepy. When he was asked anxiously, he directly answered that Yang Lei was a heaven stage guardian. Why did they provoke her for no reason? If a guardian beat a disciple, then so be it. In the Medicine Valley, as long as one entered the 5th level, they would automatically become a guardian. There were also ranks for guardians. When a Heaven Stage disciple entered the 5th level, they would become a Heaven Stage guardian. Their status was very high because some elders hadn't entered the 5th level yet. They relied on their qualifications to get there. If a Heaven Stage guardian beat a sect disciple, then it was really a waste. Hearing the Great Elder's answer, the people who complained could only retreat with their tails between their legs. 13. I'm back. Do you want to drink? Yang Lei, who had returned to the courtyard, shouted. Night Sorrow, who was cultivating, heard Yang Lei's voice and immediately went downstairs. 9th senior sister wants to drink. Of course, we must drink. Sixth senior sister, are you providing wine? Yang Lei asked Aoi, who was walking side by side with Sikong Chuyu. In the Taishan Peak, only Aoi had good wine. All right. The only thing I owe you is the 100-herb brew. Aoi took out a jar of wine. Ninth senior sister, I heard from sixth senior sister that you were summoned back to the sect a few days ago. What happened? Did the Elders' Council come to punish you? Night Sorrow asked worriedly. Nothing like that. The Elders' Council just gave me a token and confirmed the new resources. Then, they asked me if I needed anything. I didn't need a weapon, so I asked for a storage ring. Here, sixth senior sister, this is for you. Yang Lei took out a ring and handed it to Aoi. Ninth junior sister, look at this. Aoi smiled and raised her left hand to show Yang Lei. A storage ring. Sixth senior sister, you didn't do any sky-level missions, right? Also, you didn't accept any high-level missions from Tianji Tower. Yang Lei said in surprise. I didn't do any missions, but I have a good junior brother. That's enough. Aoi put her arm around Night Sorrow's shoulder and said. 13 gave this to you? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow. Correct. 13 also gave me some good things. Unfortunately, you don't need them. Aoi said with a smile. What do you mean I don't need them? I still want them even if I don't need them. 13, you are too mean. We are both senior sisters. How can you be so biased? Yang Lei stared at Night Sorrow with her beautiful eyes. Ninth senior sister, don't you have a storage ring? If you don't have one, I will find a way. Night Sorrow said with embarrassment. Chapter 98. Yi Shang then recounted how he had obtained the storage ring. Give it to me. Yang Lei reached out her hand to Night Sorrow. What? Night Sorrow was stunned. Give me the face-preserving pill. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. Night Sorrow didn't understand why Yang Lei needed the face-preserving pill when she had already entered the 5th stage and her looks didn't change. However, if she wanted it, Night Sorrow would definitely give it to her. Night Sorrow took out the bottle of face-preserving pill and gave it to Yang Lei. Ninth junior sister, you don't need the face-preserving pill anymore. Why do you still need it? Aoi also didn't understand and asked the question that everyone wanted to ask. Afterwards, Yang Lei's explanation made everyone understand why she wanted the face-preserving pill. She was keeping it for Yi Shang's future woman. She was afraid that Yi Shang would become hot-headed and be bewitched, giving the face-preserving pill away. After Yang Lei finished speaking, Sikong Chuyu's face turned red. She obviously fell for it. Sikong, I didn't mean that. You and Night Sorrow are friends. It's right to give it to you. Seeing Sikong Chuyu's blushing face, Yang Lei knew that her words hit Sikong Chuyu. I don't need the face-preserving pill when I marry a wife. Night Sorrow muttered in a low voice. Hey, hey. Don't whisper. If you have something to say, say it out loud. Although Night Sorrow's voice was soft, Yang Lei and the others heard it. Old Man Gu said that a wife must have a harmonious temperament and be able to support each other. Looks are secondary. Night Sorrow sat up straight and said. Then don't you want to marry someone prettier? You don't care if you don't age? Who are you trying to fool? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow with disdain. There's nothing to hide. Indeed, it's better to be beautiful. What's wrong with not aging? Can't I find someone who has reached the 5th step? Night Sorrow's face was flushed red. He was questioned by Yang Lei, so he was anxious to explain himself. Alright, you're ambitious. Come drink. If one day you meet a girl you like and she's not at the 5th rank, then you can come to senior sister to get the face-preserving pill. Yang Lei poured a cup of wine for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow took out 3 more bottles of ageless pills and pushed them in front of Yang Lei. No need, I already gave that ageless pill to senior sister, so I won't take it back. These are also for senior sister. If I meet a girl I like, I don't care about her appearance. There were 6 bottles of ageless pills in Huang Jun's storage ring. At this time, Night Sorrow gave the rest to Yang Lei and drank the wine in one gulp. 13. Don't be agitated. Your 9th senior sister doesn't have any other intentions. She's just worried about you being young, so she's helping you keep a bottle. When you want to use it in the future, you can use it. Aoi looked at Night Sorrow and said, 6th senior sister, don't explain. This bastard is making me angry. Yang Lei reached out to hit Night Sorrow, but she put her hand down. I know, and I also understand that this is 9th senior sister's good intentions. However, this thing is not useless. In my heart, it's really not that useful. Old Man Goose said that feelings that are mixed with goods and benefits are not pure. Night Sorrow said. Hee, your Old Man Goose said it well. When you have time, go to Zhuyuan town and have a good drink with him. Yang Lei's anger dissipated. She knew that Night Sorrow was not throwing a tantrum. He really thought so. Sikong, you're experienced and knowledgeable. Is this junior brother of mine very eccentric? Aoi looked at Sikong Chuyu and asked with a smile. He's not eccentric. He's simple. Sikong looked at Night Sorrow and said. After drinking for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. Sikong Chuyu went out. She was going to Enforcer Dong's house to gather information. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow went downstairs and saw Sikong Chuyu. Sikong Chuyu was accompanied by a young girl. The young girl was wearing a red dress. Her beautiful hair was tied behind her head, giving people a cold and proud feeling. Night Sorrow, this is my cousin Chuyu. She came here to look for me, so I brought her here. Sikong Chuyu introduced Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow greets Miss Chu. Night Sorrow nodded slightly at Chuyu. I was wondering who he was. Cousin, why are you hanging out with this kind of young master? He's only in the 2nd level of element gathering tier. One look and I can tell that he's a good for nothing. Chuyu ignored Night Sorrow and turned to talk to Sikong. You. What are you talking about? Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up and apologize. Sikong Chuyu's expression changed after hearing Chuyu's words. It's nothing. Sikong, Miss Chu just came. You receive her. I'll go check on Tianyu. Night Sorrow left the hall to check on Tianyu. Night Sorrow was angry after hearing Chuyu's words. However, in order to not make things difficult for Sikong Chuyu, he still accepted it with a smile. What's this? How shameless. Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow's back with disdain. If you say that again, I'll get angry. How much do you know about Night Sorrow? Even if you don't know him, you can't insult him just because he's my friend. Sikong Chuyu was really angry looking at Chuyu. Chuyu pursed her lips. When do you plan to go back? I don't plan to go back. How do you know I'm in Danding City? Sikong Chuyu asked. Cousin, even though you've been trying to mislead people, you still can't shake them off. Some of the key figures in the Sikong family know that you've come to Danding City. Aunt asked me to find Enforcer Dong, so I stayed in his house. Chuyu said. Those uncles of mine are really cunning. In order to win over Ji Yu's family, they won't let me go. Sikong Chuyu's face was covered with a layer of frost. Then what do you plan to do? Chuyu looked at Sikong Chuyu and asked. They set a trap for me a while ago. I've already discovered it. They should know about this too. So, they won't think that I'll stay in Danding City. I'll continue to stay here. Sikong Chuyu said. Cousin, some people from Ji Yu's family came to Sikong Tianshan a while ago. I met Ji Yu Hao. He's not bad. Chuyu smiled. Chuyu, what do you mean? I'm starting to suspect who asked you to come. Sikong Chuyu turned and stared at Chuyu, his eyes full of unhappiness. It's really Aunt who asked me to come. Chuyu said. You really don't even blush when you lie. A middle-aged woman in white appeared in the sky above the Dragon Spring courtyard. Then, she landed. "Aunt Yun, why are you here?" Sikong said happily when he saw this woman. "It was the eldest miss who asked me to come. Otherwise, the eldest miss would have been tricked by this girl. The eldest miss doesn't know about her coming. She got the news about Enforcer Dong from other channels." The woman called Aunt Yun by Sikong said. 6 only, E Zenk version, C Chi and X He Do A is 5 pirate version. At this time, Yang Lei, Aoi, and Night Sorrow all came over. Yang Lei's energy surged as she prepared for battle. Chapter 99. Ninth senior sister, Aunt Yun is a close friend of my mother. She doesn't have any hostility. Seeing Yang Lei's battle intent, Sikong Chuyu quickly stood between Yang Lei and the woman in the middle to prevent any conflict. Yang Lei nodded and took a step back, retracting her battle intent. Night Sorrow also put his reincarnation spear on his back. Although he knew that the middle-aged woman in white was very powerful, as long as it was an enemy, no matter how powerful they were, he would fight. Aunt Yun, he is Night Sorrow. These two are his senior sisters. I have been relying on their help all this time. Night Sorrow even saved my life. Sikong Chuyu said to the middle-aged woman. Yun Xia thanks you on behalf of Mississippi. The middle-aged woman, Yun Xia, nodded to Night Sorrow. Who do you think you are? Trying to curry favor with those in power? Little brat, you have made a mistake by thinking about Chuyu. Compared to Ji Yuhao, you are just a worm. Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow coldly, her eyes full of disdain. Shut up. Sikong Chuyu turned around and glared at Chuyu. Cousin, wake up. I am doing this for your own good. Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow with disdain and said. Miss Chu, I don't want to make things difficult for you because of your mother. If you continue to interfere with Mrs. Business, then I will have to ask you to shut up. Yun Xia looked at Chuyu and said coldly. Chuyu looked at Yun Xia and took 2 steps back, looking a little scared. Miss, we can't stay in Danding City anymore. If you can think of the most dangerous place, then it is the safest place. Those people can think of it too. We should leave. Yun Xia looked at Sikong Chuyu and said. Sikong Chuyu hesitated for a moment, then nodded. Sikong, are you leaving? Night Sorrow asked in a low voice. Yes. If someone from my family comes looking for me, it'll be a little troublesome. Night Sorrow, I noticed your jade pendant. It should be your family's emblem. I'll help you look into it. Sikong Chuyu nodded, feeling a little down. Thank you for taking care of my young lady. If anyone comes to find you, just tell them the truth. Don't cause unnecessary trouble. Yun Xia said to Night Sorrow and the others. It's nothing. Sikong is our good friend. We should help her. Yang Lei and the others didn't think that Yun Xia was looking down on them. Yun Xia was a 5th-order warrior, but at present, she was just a follower of Sikong Chuyu, which showed that Sikong Chuyu was involved in a lot of things. If I have the chance, I will come back to Danding City. Night Sorrow, will you visit me? Sikong Chuyu asked after some hesitation. I definitely will. Tell me, where is your home? Night Sorrow seriously promised Sikong Chuyu and then asked. Young lady, you should go pack your things first. Yun Xia said to Sikong Chuyu, who still wanted to say something. After some hesitation, Sikong Chuyu wanted to say something, but didn't. He nodded and went to pack his things. Night Sorrow, there are some things you don't know. I don't mean to hurt you, but you and Sikong Chuyu are from 2 different worlds. Seeing that Sikong Chuyu had left, Yun Xia said. What does being a friend have to do with status? If it does, then it's not a sincere friend. Night Sorrow didn't agree with Yun Xia's words. I've asked around. The strongest forces in your area are the 7 superpowers, Holy Light Religion, Thunder Sect, Red Cloud Sect, Free and Unfettered Sect, Star Cloud Sect, Golden Flame Sect, and Southern Dipper Sect. With just a word from Sikong family's head, any one of these forces will be annihilated. Medicine Valley is even less of a threat, so you have to be wise. Yun Xia's words were somewhat cold. The only one who is in charge is the one who is in charge. Night Sorrow didn't continue to speak. It wasn't that he was afraid, but that he didn't want to bring trouble to Medicine Valley. He understood that even if Yun Xia's words were exaggerated, Sikong Chuyu's family must have tyrannical strength. Are you threatening us? Our good intentions were exchanged for such an attitude. I really don't know how you people from big families behave. Yang Lei couldn't listen anymore and retorted. When Yun Xia still wanted to speak, Sikong Chuyu came back, so she didn't continue to speak. Night Sorrow, Sikong Chuyu wanted to say something, but didn't. Yun Xia waved her arm and released a golden-winged eagle. Miss, let's go. Night Sorrow, 6th senior sister, 9th senior sister, I will come to see you. Night Sorrow said. I will also come to see you. Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward, but stopped. It was Yun Xia who took a step forward and blocked Night Sorrow's path between Night Sorrow and Sikong Chuyu. My home is in Qingtian Domain Sikong Tianshan, but I plan to go to my grandfather's place. My grandfather is in Qingtian Domain's Misty Mountain. Sikong Chuyu finished speaking, and under Yun Xia's urging, he released Fire Phoenix and got on its back. I will remember. Take care of yourself. I will go. Night Sorrow said. Bah. If you can get to Qingtian Domain, you won't even have a bone left. Chuyu spat on Night Sorrow, and also got on her flying demonic beast. Gone, Sikong Chuyu, Yun Xia, and Chuyu all left. Night Sorrow looked in the direction they left, and didn't move. Qingtian Domain can run to Eastern Xian Domain. Their methods are really heaven-defying. Aoi said with some emotion. Really, what kind of thing is that? There are no good people in big clans. That crazy woman's words were okay at first, but later on, they were really unpleasant. Her cultivation is too high. Otherwise, I would have slapped her and that bitchy girl to death. Yang Lei said hatefully. Aoi slightly shook her head and said, the fist is the reason. However, Qingtian Domain has to pay a high price to come to Eastern Xian Domain. The eldest miss of the clan ran so far away to escape the marriage. It must have been hard on Sikong. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He took out a wine jug and drank a mouthful. He felt very uncomfortable in his heart. 13. Do you like Sikong a lot? Yang Lei asked. Night Sorrow didn't say anything. He couldn't answer Yang Lei's question. He really felt uncomfortable when Sikong Chuyu left him. His heart felt empty. I can see that she likes you. Yang Lei said with a smile. After standing for a while, Night Sorrow went to cultivate. It would be a lie to say that this matter didn't affect him. Yun Xia and Chuyu were too arrogant. The reason they looked down on him was because he didn't have the strength. He cultivated for 2 days. After cultivating for 2 days, Night Sorrow came out of his room. When he didn't see Sikong in the hall, Night Sorrow felt like he had lost something. He got up and walked towards Sikong Chuyu's loft. In Sikong Chuyu's loft, Night Sorrow strolled aimlessly. In front of Sikong Chuyu's bedroom, Night Sorrow hesitated for a moment, but still went in. The moment he entered the room, Night Sorrow saw 2 pieces of white paper on the table. There were words on them. Chapter 100. After reading it, Night Sorrow understood why Sikong Chuyu was hesitant to speak several times. She didn't refute Yun Xia's opinion, but left everything she wanted to say in the letter. The handwriting was delicate and a little sloppy. Night Sorrow knew that Sikong Chuyu was a little anxious at the time. The letter described the current situation of the Sikong family. Sikong Chuyu's grandfather was the current patriarch of the Sikong family, and her father, Sikong Tianding, was her grandfather's 3rd son. He was the most outstanding and a strong contender for the next patriarch position. In order to suppress Sikong Tianding, Sikong Chuyu's uncles planned to use Sikong Chuyu to form a marriage alliance with another super family, the Jiyu family. If the marriage alliance was successful, then Sikong Tianding's position as the patriarch's successor would be unshakable. However, everyone in the Sikong family knew that Sikong Chuyu was Sikong Tianding's treasure, his reverse scale. He would never sacrifice his daughter's happiness for the patriarch position. Sikong Chuyu's uncles were ruthless. If Sikong Tianding opposed the marriage, then his position in the family would plummet. Not only would he lose his position as the patriarch's successor, he would also be ostracized. They knew that Sikong Tianding would never agree. In order to prevent her father from being affected, Sikong Chuyu fled and came to the eastern Xian domain. Sikong Chuyu planned to go to the Cloud Mist Mountain where her grandfather lived when she returned to the Qing Tian domain. Her grandfather, Yang Tian, was a famous expert in the Qing Tian domain. The Sikong family wouldn't offend Yang Tian for this matter. She hoped that Night Sorrow would go to the Cloud Mist Mountain in the Qing Tian domain to find her when he had the strength. In addition, she emphasized that he shouldn't go to the Qing Tian domain before his cultivation reached the 4th rank, because it was too dangerous. At the bottom of the letter, Night Sorrow saw a jade pendant. It was a piece of ancient jade with the word Sikong engraved on the front and her name, Chuyu, engraved on the back. Holding the jade pendant, Night Sorrow's heart calmed down. The feeling of emptiness in his heart disappeared. What remained was motivation, the motivation to work hard to cultivate. He had to find Sikong Chuyu. 13. You're really here. What's in your hand? Yang Lei and Aoi came behind Night Sorrow. Yang Lei reached out her hand and took the letter from Night Sorrow. Yi Shang didn't stop him. There was nothing to hide. So what if they saw? The jade pendant in your hand was left behind by her? Qing Ji looked at the jade pendant in Yi Shang's hand and asked. Yi Shang nodded, and then he put it away. It's rare for people to give out jade pendants, especially to girls. Sikong is a nice person. She's completely different from Aunt Yun and Chuyu, Aoi said. You're still young. It won't take long for you to reach the 4th rank if you work hard. Yang Lei passed the letter in her hand to Yi Shang, then left with Qing Ji. LB initial Q** hair, 13's feelings are hazy, but these feelings will definitely take root in his heart. I hope there will be a good outcome, Aoi sighed. I can see that Sikong treats 13 well. Every time we talk, she blushes. This time, she even left behind a jade pendant, which shows that she is interested in 13. Yang Lei liked Sikong Chuyu very much. She was also very reluctant to let Sikong leave. After walking out of Sikong Chuyu's room, Night Sorrow went to see Tianyu and then went back to cultivate. Yang Lei and Aoi didn't disturb Night Sorrow. They knew that although nothing obvious had happened, Night Sorrow was going through his first relationship. During dinner, Aoi asked, 13, are you okay? What do I have? Night Sorrow put down his bowl and looked at Aoi. What about Sikong? Aoi asked. Sikong? What about Sikong? Cultivate hard. When you reach Tier 4, you can go to the Qing Tian region to see her. Night Sorrow continued to eat. Yang Lei and Aoi looked at each other. Night Sorrow's answer was so simple. In fact, it was so simple. They were the ones who were overthinking things. Yang Lei gave Night Sorrow a thumbs up and continued to eat. She realized that she and Aoi were worrying for nothing. Night Sorrow had already simplified things. Night Sorrow still practiced with Yang Lei every day. However, Yang Lei would go out every few days to Danding City, Tianji Tower, and find trouble with the disciples of Ninein Peak, Tianhua Peak, Wangyun Peak, and Blue Rock Peak. She didn't touch ordinary low-level disciples. Once a second-generation disciple appeared, she wouldn't be lenient. With Taishan Peak's disciples and the help of Yunhai Peak and North Pole Peak's disciples, the disciples of the other peaks almost didn't come out. If they came out, they would be beaten up and couldn't do any missions. After the situation stabilized, Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and Ma Zhuang all went out to do missions. Shenrong's strength was slightly weaker. He hadn't reached Essence Gathering Realm yet, so he didn't go out to do missions. After cultivating for the day, Night Sorrow took a bath. When he returned to the hall, he saw Aoi talking to Mo Chen and a young girl. 6th senior sister, 11th senior brother. Night Sorrow entered the hall and greeted the two. 13, let me introduce you. This is Chu Lingfei. You can call her Sister Lingfei. Lingfei, this is Night Sorrow, my 13th junior brother. Mo Chen stood up and said. Greetings, Sister Lingfei. Night Sorrow bowed slightly. Hello, 13. I have something to thank you for. Chu Lingfei said with a smile. She knew that Night Sorrow helped Aoi. You're welcome. Night Sorrow smiled and shook his head. After chatting for a while, Yishang took his leave and went to cultivate. 13th junior brother is really hardworking. Chu Lingfei looked in the direction that Night Sorrow left and muttered to herself. He's not just hardworking. He's crazy. Aoi smiled and shook her head. She also admired Night Sorrow's perseverance. Where's 13's friend, Si Kong? Mo Chen looked around and asked. 11, don't mention Si Kong for now. At least, don't mention it in front of 13. Aoi told him what had happened in the past few days. A big family's young mistress. 13 is under more pressure than me. 11 took a deep breath and said. 13 is more promising than you. His point of view is that all you need to do is cultivate hard. Like you, he doesn't dare to face anything. Aoi glanced at Mo Chen with disdain. Right, how's your matter? Is there any problem with the Chu family? What did that bastard Chu Lingxiao say? Aoi asked. After hearing Aoi's words, Chu Lingfei felt a bit embarrassed. She knew about the conflict between Aoi and Chu Lingxiao. A few days ago, eldest senior brother was preparing to go into seclusion. I didn't tell him. It's nothing. I don't care if they agree or not. I'll take Lingfei even if I have to. Mo Chen patted his chest and said. Chapter 101. No one in my family will object, and my cousin won't stop it either. He's not so narrow-minded, Chu Lingfei said with a smile. Then let's wait a little longer. Your 9th senior sister is handling this matter, so it's better for eldest senior brother to handle it, Aoi said after thinking for a while. 6th senior sister, I apologize on behalf of my cousin. Chu Lingfei bowed to Aoi. Lingfei, what are you doing? You and 11 are in love with each other, so you are my sister. Your cousin, that bastard's matter has nothing to do with you. You don't have to feel pressured, it has nothing to do with you. Qing Ji quickly helped Lingfei up. Look at Z on section 3 of the A version. Chu Lingfei nodded and sat down. Before coming, she was worried that Aoi wouldn't give her face, but the situation was different from what she thought. She understood that it was because Mo Chen and Aoi's relationship was good. For the sake of their junior brother, Aoi could let go of her dissatisfaction. In the Medicine Valley, Taishan Peak was famous for its unity. Chu Lingfei envied Mo Chen, Aoi, and the others' brotherly relationship. After cultivating again, Night Sorrow began to spar with Yang Lei. Yang Lei only went out for a day and a half every time. The two of them sparred, and the sound of weapons clashing could be heard constantly. Night Sorrow was constantly pushed back, but the moment he was pushed back, he pounced on again to attack. This made Mo Chen and Chu Lingfei very surprised. It was unimaginable that a second level of element gathering tier could do this. The other third-generation disciples of Taishan Peak who followed Yang Lei to Longquan Courtyard were also very shocked. When they came to the apprenticeship ceremony, Night Sorrow was the weakest in the group. But now, none of the third-generation disciples of Taishan Peak could or dared to clash with Night Sorrow. The energy flowing on Yang Lei's black sword was visible to the naked eye, If they dared to fight, their weapons would be knocked away and they would be injured. But what about Night Sorrow? His feet flashed, and he kept attacking with his spear. When he was pushed back, he would attack from different angles. After an hour of sparring, Night Sorrow, who was completely soaked, put away his spear and stepped back. He bowed to Yang Lei and then went to take a shower. He did this every time. What do you brats have to say? Look at how your 13th uncle cultivates, and then look at you guys. 11. Don't let them do any missions during this time. Train them hard. Yang Lei left after she finished speaking. Sparring with Night Sorrow had helped her a lot. Now, she also needed to go cultivate. Ninth senior sister, don't worry. Did you hear what your martial aunt said? I'm not in the mood to spar with you. From tomorrow onwards, except for Shenrong and Qingjiang, who haven't advanced, the rest of you will fight in pairs. 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. If you dare not use your full strength or try to be sneaky, then I'm sorry. Rattan fried meat. Mo Chen said to Chu Ning and the others. Hearing Mo Chen's words, Chu Ning and Tang Tian both shuddered. Their master Gong Xian had used rattan fried meat, 9th martial aunt Yang Lei had used rattan fried meat, and now 11th martial uncle was also using rattan fried meat. When they heard the word rattan, their hearts went numb. The high-intensity sparring had depleted the true qi in Night Sorrow's body and the myriad Tao treasured book's energy. Meditating after sparring would not only replenish the energy, it would also be effective in increasing one's cultivation. After 20 days of high-intensity training, Night Sorrow's myriad Tao treasured book was on the verge of a breakthrough. This was a very crucial breakthrough. It was not an advancement, but an advancement. After greeting Yang Lei, Night Sorrow calmed down for 2 days and then went into seclusion. Ninth brother, do you think 13th martial uncle is abnormal? Tang Tian asked in a loft near the celestial lake. He's not just any abnormal. I knew it when we were climbing Dan Ding Cliff. Chu Ning agreed with Tang Tian. Luckily, he's our martial uncle. If he's from the 3rd generation, we'll have a hard time cultivating like that. Ma Shizhuang rubbed his chin and muttered. There were 4 people living in this loft, Tang Tian, Chu Ning, Ma Shizhuang, and Shenrong. Let's not talk about this. Let's talk about my confusion. We're both cultivating, and I've worked very hard. When 13th uncle entered the sect, he was at the 3rd level of refining qi. Let's say he was at the 4th level of refining qi. I was at the 7th level of refining qi at that time. Now I'm stuck at the 9th level, but 13th uncle directly advanced to the 2nd level of element gathering qi. Master and martial uncle said that we're treated the same at Taishan Peak, so it can't be wrong. The difference between 13th uncle and us is that he received a qi gathering pill and a dragon bone pill. This is not the key to creating the gap. Cultivation requires a lot of resources, talent, and hard work. Do you remember when we were in the spirit gathering array? 13th uncle absorbed a lot more energy than us. This means he'll have a higher endowment tomorrow. As for having more resources than us, when we were cultivating at Taishan Peak, he came out to complete missions. Completing missions at Tianji Tower gives you points, and points can be exchanged for resources. This should be the reason for the gap between us. Chu Ning analyzed and gave his conclusion. 13th uncle's talent is stronger than ours. We're 3rd generation disciples, and he's 2nd generation disciples. This is proof. Plus, his crazy cultivation method creates a gap. We have to work hard. If we don't, we won't even be able to catch up with his shadow, Ma Shizhuang said. Yes, we have to work hard. Shenrong waved his arm. Night Sorrow's rise didn't dampen their confidence, but instead aroused their fighting spirit. Not only Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and the others, but the other 3rd generation disciples of Taishan Peak, Qingjiang, Jiang Ziming, and the others were also discussing Night Sorrow's situation. In the end, they all agreed that they had to work hard. Otherwise, the gap between them and Night Sorrow would get bigger and bigger. They were all outstanding people. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stood out in the apprenticeship ceremony. They were also more mature and not so fragile. This group of brats is not bad. They didn't lose their confidence because of 13th uncle. Yang Lei, who was drinking tea in the hall, said with a smile. The higher one's cultivation, the stronger one's detection ability. Aoi and Yang Lei were investigating the situation in Longquan Courtyard. She was quite happy to find that the third-generation disciples of Taishan Peak weren't affected. Old Nine, I don't understand. How can 13th uncle be so strong? Where did his body refining cultivation method come from? Will it have any effect on the cultivation of true qi? Qing Ji said with some worry. Don't worry about this. We can analyze it. No matter where the body refining technique came from, at least 13th uncle's body doesn't have any yin qi. Instead, it's full of yang qi. This means that it's a righteous technique. Also, whether it will affect 13th uncle's true qi cultivation is not a problem. If we find that 13th uncle's true qi cultivation speed is decreasing, we can stop it. Then, there won't be any problems. Yang Lei wasn't worried, mainly because she knew Knight Soro's situation better than Aoi. Chapter 102. His potential is higher than ours. Let's not talk about other things, but I'm not as good as him when it comes to cultivating the heaven-covering hand. Even Master was only at the second stage when he started cultivating the heaven-covering hand. 13 was able to cultivate it at the first stage. This is talent. Su Mu was born with copper skin and iron bones. When the time comes, we'll show him what it means to have a strong body. 13 is now in the middle stage of the second tier of element gathering tier, so he doesn't need to go into seclusion. Since he chose to go into seclusion now, it should be because he has a new breakthrough in his body refining technique, Aoi said. When he comes out, let's see how much his strength has increased. The strength of his arms should exceed 10,000 jin, Yang Lei said as she recalled Knight Soro's strength from a few days ago. 10,000 jin of strength is an absolute suppression against cultivators of the same level. It won't be a problem for him to fight those of a higher level. 13's most effective battle skill right now should be shock force. He won't be at a disadvantage in a head-on clash, Aoi said. Even she felt that Knight Soro's shock force was difficult to deal with. It's impossible for early-stage core condensation cultivators to injure 13 in a head-on clash. This is the power of a mutated battle skill. As 13's cultivation increases, the power of the shock force will become more and more obvious. Yang Lei also admired Knight Soro's shock force. While Yang Lei and Aoi were chatting, Knight Soro was working hard to break through. The energy in Knight Soro's body rushed from his neck to his head. It was very difficult for him to bear the impact of the energy on his 5 senses. This was one of the most sensitive areas of the human body. Right now, Knight Soro was in more pain than when he was trying to break through to the 9th tier of blood refining tier. However, after experiencing the torment of breaking through so many times, Knight Soro was still able to bear it. The impact of the energy caused Knight Soro's face to change shape. It was even somewhat distorted. He clenched his teeth and endured, his teeth creaking as sweat flowed down his face. This was the bottleneck from blood refining tier to muscle strengthening tier. After opening the veins in his head, all the veins in his body would be opened. The energy in his blood would be able to circulate throughout his body. Then, he would be able to cultivate the second tier of the myriad Dao Tome. Sweat flowed down Knight Soro's trembling face. His whole body was soaked, as if he had just climbed out of the water. Knight Soro tried his best to persevere. Once he took this step, the strength of his body would increase by leaps and bounds. This would also prove that he was suitable to cultivate the myriad Dao Tome. The blood-refining realm of the myriad Dao Tome was the foundation. The muscle-strengthening realm was the true beginning of cultivation. The intense stimulation made Knight Soro's body tremble, but he did not give up. He endured the pain as if ants were gnawing at his flesh. This time, the breakthrough took a little longer. It took 2 hours for Knight Soro to open up the veins around his ears. The meridians near his ears were the place where Night Sorrow had last attacked. After the meridians were cleared, the blood in Night Sorrow's body surged faster. A different feeling appeared in Night Sorrow's heart. He felt as if he could kill a tiger with a single punch. In the past, Night Sorrow's blood flowed normally in his head. There was no energy in his veins. If his veins were blocked, the energy in his blood would not be able to pass through. Now, Night Sorrow's veins were unobstructed. After stabilizing his cultivation, Night Sorrow took 2 hours. By the time he walked out of his room, it was already late at night. He casually took a shower and did not see any servants. Night Sorrow made himself some food before returning to his room to continue cultivating and stabilizing his cultivation. After cultivating for an entire night, Night Sorrow woke up early in the morning and went to the restaurant where he ate. Little U said 9/10/10/10/10/10/10/10/10. This restaurant was arranged by Little Six. Because there were more and more people in the Dragon Spring courtyard, it was more convenient to eat together. Seeing Night Sorrow arrive, Yang Lei waved at him, "Come over here." Smiling at Chu Ning and Tang Tian who stood up to greet him, Night Sorrow sat opposite Yang Lei. Yang Lei drank a mouthful of water and looked at Night Sorrow as he asked, "You feel refreshed? Did you gain anything from your closed-door cultivation this time?" "I had some breakthroughs in other areas." Night Sorrow nodded his head. Blood chi is more vigorous than before. This is very rare. If it reaches a certain level, it will form a vital chi smoke signal. Evil chi will not be able to invade. Yang Lei once again sized up Night Sorrow and said, "At least now that you are in the wilderness, ordinary mosquitoes will not bite you." Aoi said as she poured a bowl of soup for Night Sorrow. After eating, Hai Luo and the rest brewed tea for everyone in the courtyard's garden. "You guys have all become young masters, right? Hai Luo, Luo Wei, you guys don't have to care about them. If you want to drink tea, make it yourselves. You can't spoil them." Yang Lei instructed Hai Luo. Chu Ning and the rest who were originally sitting all stood up. Although it is a small matter, some habits have to be cultivated. For example, drinking tea is a form of self-cultivation. It is better to do it yourself. Aoi smiled at Chu Ning and the rest. 6th martial aunt, then 13th martial uncle doesn't need to cultivate. Aren't you guys discriminating against us? Tang Tian said bitterly. Your 13th martial uncle's body is like iron and stone. It is incomparably firm. It is enough for now. Aoi pointed at Night Sorrow's chest and said. 11th junior brother, Tang Tian's mental state is not firm. Increase the training. Chu Ning, Ma Zhuang and Shenrong can also be counted in. Living in the same loft, they will not be able to learn anything good. They all need to be educated. Yang Lei instructed Mo Chen. Mo Chen smiled and nodded. He understood that Yang Lei wanted to specially train them. Chu Ning, Tang Tian and Ma Zhuang needed to be trained. Shenrong was the unlucky child. After hearing Yang Lei's words, Chu Ning, Tang Tian and the rest's faces turned green. They did not dare to make a sound. 13th martial uncle, shall we continue? Yang Lei stood up and asked Night Sorrow. Okay. Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and walked to the training grounds at the side of the garden. After advancing, he wanted to test how much his strength had increased. After shaking his reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow started to attack Yang Lei. Wang! The collision of the weapons caused a loud vibration. Night Sorrow was forced back. When he was forced back, Night Sorrow loosened his hands and grabbed, reducing the recoil to the minimum. After that, he used the dragon leap steps and continued to rush forward to attack. Your strength is over 10,000 Jin. Very good. Today, I will also start to attack. After Yang Lei finished speaking, the black iron sword in her hand struck out and started to attack Night Sorrow. Once Yang Lei made her move, Night Sorrow did not have the opportunity to attack. He withdrew his reincarnation spear and started to defend himself. While Night Sorrow was defending, Yang Lei continued to attack. The speed of her attacks was getting faster and faster. Night Sorrow used the dragon leap steps to dodge. At the same time, his body's strength and vibrational force were added to his spear, blocking the attacks of Yang Lei's weapon. However, it was still not enough. The intensity of Yang Lei's attacks was too high. Waves of true qi were transmitted to Night Sorrow's arms, making him unable to resist. Chapter 103. Night Sorrow's fingers loosened and tightened as he brandished the reincarnation spear to defend himself. If he didn't do so, he would have fallen. Yang Lei surrounded Night Sorrow and attacked continuously, making Night Sorrow tired. However, Yang Lei didn't attack Night Sorrow violently, so there was no point in training. A quarter of an hour. Just as the quarter of an hour had passed, Yishan sat down on the ground and gasped for breath. There was not a single bit of energy left in his flesh and dantian. He had completely used up all of it. After resting for a few breaths, Night Sorrow stood up and left. After leaving the martial arts field, Night Sorrow went straight to his room to cultivate. He didn't even take a shower. I didn't expect 13's limit to be so high. I thought he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Mo Chen said. Limits are reached through endurance. He has been persevering. In that situation, even if he was at the peak of the second step, he might not be able to hold on for 15 minutes. This is perseverance. Aoi looked at the ground where Night Sorrow sat and said. That was Night Sorrow's sweat. Did you see that? No one is forcing you to be like him, but you have to know that strength is your own. If you want to become strong and be respected by others, Yishan's path is the most effective and direct. After Yang Lei finished speaking, she didn't pay any more attention to them. Some things only needed to be pointed out, and there was no point in saying more. Tang Tian, Chu Ning, and the rest looked at each other and left. They had been dealt a blow by Night Sorrow. They used to think that Night Sorrow's efforts were for show in front of the elders of the Taishan Peak. Now, they didn't think so. I'm a little impressed by 13. The strength of my attack just now was mid-third order. Later on, it was early third order. For him to be able to withstand it, one reason is because of his perseverance. Another reason is that his body's toughness is high. Sparring with him will also have an effect on my body's toughness. Yang Lei told Qing Ji. I have confidence in 13 participating in the best newcomer competition, Aoi said as she turned to look at the main building. And he's currently in the middle period of the second level of element gathering tier. Once he reaches the third level of element gathering tier, he'll be able to take the origin increasing pill. Then, he'll be able to enter the fourth level of element gathering tier very quickly. Yang Lei said. It wasn't that she didn't have confidence in Night Sorrow, but she was worried about the situation at the Nainin Peak. That's true. That guy Shou Hua was already in the fifth level of element gathering tier some time ago. Aoi sighed. She felt gloomy for Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was already so outstanding that he couldn't be any more outstanding, but he just had to face the unscrupulous opponent of the Nainin Peak. Night Sorrow cultivated for most of the day. In the evening, he took a shower and came out to eat. In the morning, after practicing with Yang Lei, he was sweating all over. He didn't even take a shower before he went to meditate. 13th junior brother, is it painful to practice with your 9th senior sister? Mo Chen asked as he ate. This caused Chu Lingfei, who was beside him, to pinch him. It's painful, but I'm more happy. The faster my cultivation increases, the more my battle prowess increases, Night Sorrow said as he stuffed food into his mouth. 11th junior brother, do you see? This is the difference. What do you see? That's the bad side. 13 sees the gains. Yang Lei gave Mo Chen a disdainful look. Serves you right. Who asked you to show off? Aoi also glanced at Mo Chen. Mo Chen smiled and didn't say anything. This was completely asking for trouble. After eating, Night Sorrow and Yang Lei once again began their practice. After persisting for a few minutes, Night Sorrow, who was so tired that he couldn't catch his breath, directly returned to his room to continue cultivating. Reading XE novels forever free. If you don't go crazy, you won't be able to live. Yang Lei sighed and went back to cultivate. She had reached a bottleneck when she cultivated her covering heaven hand to the realm of cloud flipping hand. Now, it seemed that there was a possibility of a breakthrough. She wanted to calm down and study it. Also, after her cultivation reached the 5th rank, she had reached a level that could be improved. Countless cultivators were stuck at the 4th rank bottleneck. Even the most heaven-defying geniuses needed an opportunity to break through. Otherwise, their cultivation would never be able to increase. Yang Lei had crossed this line and could increase her cultivation. Of course, after the 5th rank, the energy required to advance was enormous. She needed to persevere for many years. Night Sorrow's craziness spurred on the Dragon Spring Courtyard's cultivation atmosphere. Tang Tian, Chu Ning, and the others also desperately cultivated every day. However, there was a problem on Night Sorrow's side. It was a hidden problem. When he was in the blood refining realm of the myriad Dao Tome, he used blood essence pills to aid his cultivation. Now, the blood essence pills weren't as effective as when he was in the blood refining realm. He had to eat 2 at a time, and there weren't many blood essence pills left. Night Sorrow calculated that he could only use them for 2 months. This made him somewhat anxious. After eating breakfast again, Night Sorrow didn't train with Yang Lei. Ninth Senior Sister, I want to go to Tianji Tower. You don't need to rush to do missions. Isn't cultivating like this good? If you feel tired, you can rest for a few days. Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow and said. She felt that she was putting too much pressure on Night Sorrow. Senior Sister, it's not what you think. I need some materials and want to go to Tianji Tower to take a look. Otherwise, it will delay things. Night Sorrow shook his head. What materials do you need? We'll help you find a way. It's indeed too early for you to do bronze missions. Iron missions aren't stressful for you. It's not worth it to waste time. Aoi also opened her mouth to oppose. Senior Sister, I want to refine a 2nd rank pill. I need the black and white twin flower python's gallbladder and golden silk leopard's blood. I need a lot of them. Also, I need green radish grass. Night Sorrow stated the materials he needed. These were the materials needed to refine the 2nd rank pill, leopard embryo tendon strengthening pill. What kind of 2nd rank pill are you trying to refine? Why haven't I heard of it before? Aoi rubbed her forehead and thought for a moment. She couldn't think of anything. It's a pill that strengthens the tendons and meridians. It's an ancient recipe. I need it to cultivate my body's strength. Night Sorrow said. This was the pill he found in Feng Chen's alchemy manual that was suitable for him. The gallbladder of the black and white twin flower python is easy to get. However, you need to find the golden silk leopard. You can buy green radish grass anywhere. There's a lot of it in medicinal shops. Aoi's alchemy skills were very high. Therefore, she was very clear about the materials needed to refine pills. Are you in a hurry? Yang Lei thought for a moment and asked. I need it within 2 months. Night Sorrow nodded. He wouldn't give up on cultivating the myriad Dao Tome. In Night Sorrow's heart, the cultivation of the myriad Dao Tome was more important than the Holy Cauldron scripture. The highest level of the Holy Cauldron scripture was to cultivate to the Saint realm. However, the myriad Dao Tome had the 8th and 9th stages. Alright, I'll go with you. Send someone back to the sect to get the gallbladder of the black and white twin flower python and green radish grass. We'll look for the golden silk leopard here. Yang Lei saw Night Sorrow's expression and knew that this matter was very important to Night Sorrow. Chapter 104. That's fine too. I'll help you make a trip to the sect and bring the resources you need. Yang Lei said. She knew that she would be safe if she followed Night Sorrow, but it would also lose the meaning of gaining experience. Senior sister, I don't have any sect merit points. I don't want the energy gathering pill. I'll exchange it for materials. If it's not enough, I'll pay with spirit stones. Night Sorrow took out some low-grade spirit stones. Night Sorrow had 2 high-grade spirit stones, but he didn't want to use them. The value of a high-grade spirit stone was incomparable to that of a low-grade spirit stone and a middle-grade spirit stone. Even if he used more low-grade spirit stones than the exchange rate, no one would be willing to exchange them. There's no need for that. You're a heaven-ranked disciple. It's not a problem to use some materials. I'll take care of it. Yang Lei didn't take Night Sorrow's spirit stones. Then I'll take my leave. Night Sorrow tightened his grip on the reincarnation spear on his back and left the courtyard. He sat on the beast carriage driven by Little Six and rushed towards Tianji Tower. When he arrived at Tianji Tower, a staff member came to receive Night Sorrow. Looking at the reception lady in a white dress, Night Sorrow thought of Sikong Chuyu. He didn't know what Sikong Chuyu was busy with right now and whether he had safely arrived at Yunwu Mountain. Young master, please follow me. Seeing Night Sorrow in a daze, the reception lady said. Well, it's like this. I wonder if Enforcer Dong is here? Night Sorrow calmed down and said. Since you're looking for Enforcer Dong, I'll pass on the message. I wonder if Enforcer Dong has the time to meet you. The reception lady looked at Night Sorrow and said. She felt that Night Sorrow was just a rank 2 martial artist. As the person in charge of Tianji Tower in Danding City, Enforcer Dong wouldn't meet him. Please pass on the message. My name is Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded at the receptionist. She glanced at Night Sorrow again and went to report. Although she felt that Night Sorrow was overestimating himself, she was also worried that Night Sorrow was a young master from some family and that he had come here on some big mission. Thus, she went to report. Enforcer Dong, who was reading an anecdote on the top floor of Tianji Tower, immediately got up and went downstairs when he heard that Night Sorrow had come. Greetings, Enforcer Dong. Seeing Enforcer Dong, Night Sorrow bowed to greet him. Hurry up and make a pot of good tea and send it to the reception room on the 2nd floor. We'll take a seat upstairs. Enforcer Dong brought Night Sorrow to the reception room on the 2nd floor. Forever on free _w look square root c small / say g asterisk. After sitting down, Night Sorrow said, Enforcer Dong, I'm sorry. Sikong is at my place, but he was still discovered. Don't worry. Although Miss didn't come here before she left, she sent someone to deliver a letter when she arrived at Dongxian City. I know the details. Thank you for taking care of my miss for so long. Enforcer Dong cupped his fists towards Night Sorrow. Seeing that Night Sorrow was a little surprised, Enforcer Dong then told him some things about himself. Enforcer Dong was actually an outer sect disciple of Yunwu Mountain. When he was young, Enforcer Dong was injured in a battle with an enemy. It was Sikong Chuyu's mother, Yang Yu, who saved him and brought him to Yunwu Mountain. After that, he joined Yunwu Mountain and became an outer sect disciple. When Yang Yu got married, Enforcer Dong followed Yang Yu to the Sikong family and became one of Yang Yu's guards. Because it was inconvenient for a male guard, Yang Yu asked Sikong Tianding to make the arrangements. Afraid that the struggle in the Sikong family would implicate Enforcer Dong, Sikong Tianding used some means to arrange for Enforcer Dong to be far away, directly to the eastern Xian region. Sikong Chuyu was also a member of Tianji Tower, and his status was much higher than Enforcer Dong's. He was an inspector of Tianji Tower. When they were in public, Enforcer Dong would call him Lord, but in private, he would call him Mississippi. I understand. Night Sorrow nodded. He originally felt that it was strange why Enforcer Dong was so respectful towards Sikong Chuyu. Miss has specially instructed me to help you as much as I can. So, Night Sorrow, if you have any problems, you don't need to be polite with me, Enforcer Dong said to Night Sorrow. At this time, the receptionist came in and heard this sentence. Her expression immediately changed. She didn't expect Enforcer Dong to value Night Sorrow so much. Unruly. Don't you know how to knock? Enforcer Dong glared at the receptionist angrily. The receptionist hurriedly apologized, then bowed and left. Tianji Tower is a force of the Sikong family? After hearing Enforcer Dong's words, Night Sorrow was a little shocked. This Sikong family could extend their tentacles to the eastern Xian region. This was too terrifying. No, things are more complicated than you think. It doesn't matter if I tell you a little. I'll just tell you. Enforcer Dong poured a cup of tea for Night Sorrow and himself, then slowly explained. Tianji Tower had a long history, and no one knew how long it had been. It was spread across the 9 regions and 18 prefectures. No force could or dared to touch it. Any force that dared to provoke Tianji Tower would be destroyed, and no one knew who destroyed them. Such a huge organization naturally needed people to manage it. The management staff of Tianji Tower came from all over the world. There were members of family forces, sect forces, and also individual cultivators. Therefore, the management staff of each force had to work for the benefit of the force they belonged to. The higher-ups of Tianji Tower didn't care about this. The only rule was that Tianji Tower's interests were paramount. They were not allowed to betray Tianji Tower's interests, and they were not allowed to betray Tianji Tower. Otherwise, they would be killed. The Sikong clan was currently using the Extreme Empyrean Tower's network to find talents. If there were any particularly outstanding talents, the Sikong clan would recruit them. This method wasn't only used by the Sikong clan, other clans were doing the same as well. Yes, this is indeed a good way to find talents. Some forces can also rise by relying on this method. Night Sorrow nodded. Hee, various forces are recruiting. Tianji Tower itself is doing the same. You have high potential and are a red follower in Danding City. I will report this to the Sikong family, but first, I have to report to the higher-ups of Tianji Tower. This is the rule. Enforcer Dong explained to Night Sorrow. I'm a red follower. What does this mean? Night Sorrow didn't expect this to be related to him. Red follower is the level of attention. However, if you want to be recruited by Tianji Tower, this is not enough. There are also purple follower, black follower, and so on. You should know that the management staff recruited by Tianji Tower, like me, are also low-level members. The core members are all recruited and trained by Tianji Tower. Enforcer Dong continued to explain to Night Sorrow. I know. A large organization must have a perfect management system. However, this has nothing to do with me at the moment. Night Sorrow said with a smile. You know this, but you can still be calm. This is good. Take it slow. This indeed has nothing to do with you at the moment. Are you here to accept a mission or to exchange for something? Enforcer Dong asked. It's like this. I want to know where I can find information about the golden silk leopard. What price do I have to pay to exchange for this information? Night Sorrow asked. Chapter 105. Enforcer Dong, just do what you need to do. I don't want to bring you any trouble. Night Sorrow said again. He didn't want to bring trouble to Enforcer Dong because of his own reasons. It's okay. You stay here and drink your tea. I'll go look for some information. Enforcer Dong smiled and went out. Under normal circumstances, Enforcer Dong wouldn't do this. Information was the wealth of Tianji Tower. Giving it away for free was equivalent to harming the interests of Tianji Tower. However, Night Sorrow's situation was different. Night Sorrow was a red follower of the Empyrean Terminus Tower, so it was possible to give him some help when appropriate. This way, he would be able to leave a good impression in the hearts of the people he followed, paving the way for the Empyrean Terminus Tower to rope him in the future. After a quarter of an hour, Enforcer Dong came back. Someone has seen a golden silk leopard in Qingshui Great Lake. It's too far from here. It's more than 20,000 miles away. In addition, the environment there is too dangerous. You need to be at least at the peak of the 3rd rank to find resources there. It's a bit far, but it doesn't matter. Can Enforcer Dong provide me with a map? Night Sorrow thought for a moment and decided to go. The refining of the leopard embryo muscle strengthening pill was the first problem. Okay. Then I'll give you a map of Eastern Profound Domain. It'll be convenient for you to go anywhere in the future. Enforcer Dong took out a map and handed it to Night Sorrow. It was a 5-foot square animal skin map. There were barren mountains, Great Lakes, and various cities on it. The white markings are cities, which are safe areas. The green markings are normal areas, the red markings are dangerous areas, and the black markings are forbidden areas. So, you have to pay attention to the color division. Enforcer Dong pointed out how to look at the map. Night Sorrow put away the map and then cupped his hands to Enforcer Dong. Thank you, Enforcer Dong. Since you seem to be in a hurry, I won't keep you any longer. Remember, safety comes first. When you come back, come and have some tea with me. Also, you need to get some clover and jade containers. Otherwise, the golden silk leopard's blood will not be preserved. Enforcer Dong nodded to Night Sorrow. He could tell that Night Sorrow was in a hurry. After exchanging for some 3-leaf clovers at Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow left Tianji Tower. At the entrance, he saw Chu Ning, Tang Tian, and the others. They were weaker, so they were all doing missions together. Tang Tian, when you go back, tell your 6th martial aunt that I will be out for a long time, so don't worry, Night Sorrow said. 13th uncle, where are you going? Do you need our help? Tang Tian asked. There's no need for that. I'll be leaving first. Be careful when you're doing your quests. Night Sorrow got on the beast carriage and headed out of the city. 7th senior brother, isn't 13th uncle not doing any missions? Is he thinking of taking action after sitting still for so long? Chu Ning asked. Dao only 9 original $8, everyone else is a pirated copy. Among the first 3 generations of the Taishan Peak, the ranking was based on age. Regardless of the age of the master, Nangong Dai was the oldest, so she was the eldest senior sister. Tang Tian was the 7th, so Chu Ning had to call him 7th senior brother. Who knows? Let's go turn in our quests, then have a drink before heading back. Tang Tian led the way into Tianji Tower. After buying a few containers to store the golden leopard's blood, Night Sorrow left Danding City. After leaving Danding City, Night Sorrow got on Tianyu's back and told him the direction. Tianyu flew high up in the sky, then he sat cross-legged on Tianyu's back, close to his neck, and began to meditate. It was close to 30,000 miles. Even if Tianyu's speed was fast, it would still take him a few days. During this time, Night Sorrow would not give up on cultivating. Letting Tianyu fly high up in the sky was to avoid being attacked by demonic beasts in the wilderness. After Tianyu advanced, his speed was much faster. In just one day, he could fly 6,000 to 7,000 miles. When the sky darkened, Night Sorrow found a small town. He decided to settle down in this small town that was not shown on the map. After booking a room at the only inn in the town, Night Sorrow arranged for the attendants to roast a few wild boars for Tianyu. After feeding Tianyu, Night Sorrow left the inn. He planned to buy some more wine to store. It was hard to say if there was a place to restock on the way. Bringing water would spoil, so bringing wine was the best. After buying a few jars of strong wine from a tavern, Night Sorrow heard the sound of iron being forged on the way back to the inn. He lifted his feet and walked over. It was a shabby blacksmith shop. A bare-chested big man was forging a hunting fork. This was a weapon commonly used by hunters. It was a weapon that could tear apart the skin of wild beasts. What attracted Night Sorrow's attention was the 20 or so short spears placed on the side. Each spear was as thick as a baby's arm. The spear's shaft was 3 feet long, and the tip was a foot long. The short spear's forging was based on the short spear. Uncle, how much are these short spears? Night Sorrow asked. These are custom-made for an adult. Ordinary people can't use them. The middle-aged man stopped his work and wiped the sweat off his face. Night Sorrow reached out and picked one up. Holding it in his hand, Night Sorrow felt that the short spear was very heavy. It was estimated that this short spear weighed 300 pounds. Ordinary hunters would find it difficult to throw it, let alone have any lethality. However, he liked it very much. With such a sharp weapon and his strength, its power would be amazing. Little brother, can you use it? Seeing Night Sorrow twirling the short spear in his hand nimbly, the middle-aged man was a little shocked. I like it very much. Unfortunately, uncle, this is custom-made for someone else. Night Sorrow nodded with a smile. That tree over there, try shooting it. If this short spear is powerful in your hands, I can let you have a few. The middle-aged man said to Night Sorrow. Yi Shang waved his hand, and the tip of the short spear in his hand flashed with a bright light. He shot it towards the ancient tree more than 200 meters away. Puff! The short spear hit the tree and made a muffled sound. Then, it disappeared. The middle-aged man walked out of the blacksmith shop and dragged his tattered leather shoes towards the ancient tree. Night Sorrow followed him. The short spear that Yi Shang had thrown out made a hole the size of a bowl. It was a transparent hole. Where's the short spear? The middle-aged man walked around the tree and looked through the hole in the tree. Night Sorrow left the ancient tree and walked forward for another 20 feet. He pulled out the short spear that was half a foot away from a stone wall. Seeing Night Sorrow's actions, the middle-aged man's eyes were filled with surprise. What a powerful weapon! Night Sorrow found that the short spear that had pierced through the ancient tree and into the stone wall was not damaged at all. Who the hell wants to destroy my bear's den? Following a shout, a woman with big arms and a round waist came out with a big wooden stick. Sister Luo, don't be angry. I accidentally touched it. I'll take care of it for you tomorrow. The middle-aged man said with a smile. Yi Chang's spear had pierced a hole in the stone wall. Cracks appeared all around the hole, and the damage was quite severe. Chapter 106. Little brother, what are you doing? You were brought here by the smelly blacksmith. If there's a problem, he can deal with it. I can't accept the money. Sister Luo shook her head and said. Sister-in-law, how can you do that? I have to take responsibility for my mistakes. Night Sorrow shook his head. This was his business. He couldn't let the blacksmith take the blame. Well, that's how it is in our town. Sister Luo, don't worry. I'll fix it for you tomorrow. The blacksmith said with a smile. Since you have a good attitude, I don't need you anymore. You really make me worry. Sister Luo took the big wooden stick and went home. That's how it is in our town. The blacksmith said with a smile. Our village is similar to here. When I was a child, I was naughty and was chased by the aunties in the village with sticks. Even if they caught me, they wouldn't really beat me. Night Sorrow missed Juyuan village. That lord left behind the materials. He only ordered 6 spears. The rest of the materials can be considered as a crafting fee. I'll sell the extra short spears to you. You just have to pay me for the materials, the blacksmith said after returning to the blacksmith shop. I understand. Night Sorrow took out 500 taels of gold and handed it to the blacksmith. This was half of the gold he had. The blacksmith took 2 and pushed the rest back to Night Sorrow. Although the material of this spear is precious and can't be made elsewhere, I'll compensate you a little since you hit it off. Uncle, is this short spear difficult to make? Night Sorrow asked in surprise. I'm not boasting, but this short spear is made with the spiral 100-fold forging method. The material of a long spear was used to make this short spear, so the quality and hardness of the short spear are relatively high. I used to make weapons in the exclusive blacksmith pavilion in Beishan City. However, because I'm old, my qi and blood are weak. My body can't take it anymore, so I returned to my hometown. The blacksmith took out a jar of wine and poured a bowl for Night Sorrow. So that's how it is. Night Sorrow understood that this blacksmith was not a simple person. Otherwise, he would not have been able to forge such a ferocious short spear. The blacksmith walked over to the short spears and waved to Night Sorrow. Come, don't touch these 6 spears. Leave 2 for me as a treasure. These 12 are yours. Night Sorrow hesitated. There was no way he could take it. The 200 taels of gold was the compensation for the materials used to make it, but he couldn't let the blacksmith uncle work for nothing. After pondering for a moment, Night Sorrow took out a bottle of blood essence pills. Uncle, I know it's not appropriate to take gold notes. Also, you won't accept them. But these are blood essence pills. They can replenish the blood in your body. Please accept them. Night Sorrow handed the blood essence pills to the blacksmith. Haha. You're an interesting lad. Could it be that your strength comes from eating this thing? I'll take this pill. There's no exchange. I hope that the weapons I forge can find suitable owners. The blacksmith put away the blood essence pill and said with a smile. Only then did Night Sorrow put the short spear into his storage ring. Come and drink. The blacksmith uncle was very happy. Uncle, why don't you try the wine I brought? Night Sorrow took out the 100 herbs wine that Aoi gave him. It wasn't that he didn't want to use the azure blood wine, but the azure blood wine was too strong. Haha. Good wine. After drinking a bowl of 100 herbs wine, the blacksmith excitedly smacked his lips. Come and drink. Night Sorrow poured another bowl for the blacksmith. After drinking half a jar of 100 herbs wine, the blacksmith became drunk. After covering half a jar of wine, Yishang got up and covered the blacksmith with his coat. He took out a jar of 100 herbs wine and placed it on the table. Then, he placed 10 low-grade spirit stones beside the wine jar before leaving. He was afraid that the person who ordered the weapon would be dissatisfied with the blacksmith and cause trouble for him, so he left the spirit stones behind. After returning to the inn, Night Sorrow wiped the 12 short spears. He really liked them. When he was hunting in Bamboo Garden Village, he often threw the black iron spears to kill demon beasts. Now that he had 12 short spears, he believed that his long-range combat ability would be improved. While wiping the short spears, Night Sorrow found that there were some words on the short spears. On the handle, there were 3 words, Sky-Piercing Spear. He felt that this name was very suitable for the short spears. When the sky was slightly bright, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and left. The blacksmith woke up and stretched his body. His robe slipped off and he found that he had slept the whole night. Very interesting little guy. That flying demon beast is not simple. He got 12 sky-piercing spears, but the wine is good. The blacksmith said to himself. Then, he saw the wine and spirit stones that Night Sorrow left behind. The blacksmith took a deep breath and stood up. It was as if he was a different person. Smelly blacksmith, who was that kid yesterday? The tough Sister Luo appeared. Amazing kid. The sky-piercing spears are very suitable for him. I gave him 12 spears. Come and taste the wine that kid left behind. It is very good. The blacksmith opened the half jar of 100 herbs wine and poured a bowl for Sister Luo. Damn bastard. We went to many cities. You went to the blacksmith pavilion to work and collect materials to make weapons. You gave it away just for a jar of wine? Sister Luo held the bowl and scolded the blacksmith. Then, she drank the wine in one gulp. How is it? The wine is good, right? He gave me some gold notes and left me an extra jar of wine. He also gave me some pills. After he left, he didn't say anything and left behind some spirit stones. What a kind kid. I like it. The blacksmith said with a smile. Indeed, he doesn't know how difficult it is to make the sky-piercing spear. If it were an ordinary weapon, the price he paid would be more than enough. Unfortunately, in terms of value, it's nothing compared to the sky-piercing spear. Sister Luo shook her head and said. 6 sky-piercing spears are enough for us. Now, we have 8 left. Just give him the rest. Let's make the best use of them. The blacksmith said after drinking a bowl of wine. $, that kid left long ago. When will we leave? We have been here for more than 10 years. The people outside might have forgotten about us. Sister Luo said. Pack up. Once third bro returns, we'll leave. With this heaven-piercing spear, killing that evil Wyrm won't be a problem. We've waited too long for this day, the blacksmith said after taking a deep breath. Sitting cross-legged on Tianyu's back, Knight Sorrow worked hard to cultivate the myriad Tao scripture and true energy. As for Tianyu, Knight Sorrow did not have to worry. Tianyu was intelligent and would not lose his way. Tianyu, let's start looking for prey. Then, we will set up camp and rest. Looking at the sky, Knight Sorrow said to Tianyu, who was below him. Tianyu could travel at night, but Knight Sorrow did not want him to. He did not want Tianyu to work too hard. He still needed to rest at night. Half an hour later, Tianyu, who was flying at a low altitude, found his prey. It was a huge python with green scales that was as thick as a bucket. It was coiled around an ancient tree. Chapter 107. With a black light, the sky-piercing spear shot directly on the head of the giant python, nailing it to the trunk. The giant python shook its body, shook its head, and its head slipped from the handle of the sky-piercing spear, then its whole body fell to the ground and twisted together. It was an unconscious struggle. The sky-piercing spear shot by Knight Sorrow had already pierced its head and destroyed its brain. Controlling Tianyu to land, Knight Sorrow pulled out the sky-piercing spear. He thought he had to wipe it, but when he held the sky-piercing spear in his hand, Knight Sorrow found that the sky-piercing spear was clean without a drop of blood. After finding some dry wood, Knight Sorrow lit the fire, and then went to deal with the still twisting body of the python. First, he fed the python's gallbladder to Tianyu, then he skinned the python's body, and then roasted it with an iron stick. Watching Knight Sorrow roasting the python, Tianyu stayed beside Knight Sorrow, rubbing his head against Knight Sorrow's body from time to time. Tianyu has grown a lot and his cultivation base has improved a lot, but he is very attached to Knight Sorrow. When he was in the Longquan courtyard, Knight Sorrow went to accompany him every day and went to see him, which was the happiest time for him. Knight Sorrow turned over the python meat with one hand and stroked the feathers on Tianyu's neck with the other, a very harmonious picture. When the python meat was ready, Knight Sorrow cut it into pieces with a knife and fed it to Tianyu, and he ate it slowly. Knight Sorrow also opened a jar of wine for Tianyu. After eating and feeding Tianyu, Knight Sorrow ate half of a spirit congealing pill and a blood essence pill and began to meditate. What Knight Sorrow needed the most was time. If he had time to cultivate, he would definitely not let it go. In the past, Knight Sorrow didn't consume medicinal pills to cultivate. He was afraid that the medicinal pills wouldn't be completely refined and would leave behind poison in his body. Now that his Jin Qi had entered the element gathering tier and the myriad Dao Tome had entered the tendon strengthening tier, his body and Jin Qi's ability to refine and absorb had increased. Half a core solidifying pill and a blood essence pill were completely absorbed by him in one night. After cultivating for an entire night, he woke up and practiced the Windchaser spear art for a while to loosen his muscles and bones. Only then did Knight Sorrow leave on Tianyu. Tianyu's appetite was astonishing. It needed to absorb the energy in the flesh and blood of demonic beasts to increase its strength. It ate a lot every meal, but only one meal a day was enough. Sitting on Tianyu's back, Knight Sorrow was also meditating and cultivating. It was just that he didn't use any medicinal pills. He was purely absorbing the spiritual energy between heaven and earth. It took Knight Sorrow 4 days to arrive at the Qingshui Marsh. It was the territory of the Qingshui sect, a force under the jurisdiction of the Medicine Valley. The Qingshui sect was a force under the jurisdiction of the Medicine Valley. Every year, it would hand in resources to the Medicine Valley. It was the strongest force in this area. Last time, it had to cross the Medicine Valley to participate in the Golden Flame sect's decennial power meeting, but it was stopped by the Medicine Valley. Look at the main and edition Chapter 1, in their own area. The Medicine Valley wouldn't allow the Qingshui sect to do that. If the Qingshui sect directly interacted with the Golden Flame sect, it would be like a nail being hammered in the heart of the Medicine Valley. Therefore, the relationship between the two parties was quite tense. Due to the strength of the Medicine Valley and the inheritance of alchemy in the Medicine Valley, the Qingshui sect didn't dare to act recklessly because many powerful practitioners and sects had a good relationship with the Medicine Valley. After arriving at the Qingshui marsh, Night Sorrow and Tianyu rested for a night. The next day, they began to look for the golden silk leopard. The adult golden silk leopard was at the 3rd level. Its blood was very precious. Even if it wasn't used for alchemy, its blood could be used to strengthen the muscles and bones by soaking the body with medicinal herbs. The golden silk leopard was also very rare. Otherwise, Night Sorrow wouldn't have traveled nearly 30,000 miles to Qingshui Marsh. The Qingshui Marsh covered an area of 3,000 to 4,000 miles. There were swamps and ponds among the trees and in the valley. There were also many poisonous snakes and insects, so it was very dangerous. Tianyu couldn't adapt to flying at a slow speed. Night Sorrow let Tianyu hover in the air while he walked among the ancient trees. When he was tired, he drank some wine and rested for a while. After that, Night Sorrow continued his search. 2 days passed. Night Sorrow killed many demonic beasts and found many rare medicinal herbs. However, he still didn't find any golden silk leopards. Although he didn't find any, Night Sorrow didn't lose his confidence. He knew that the information from Tianji Tower was absolutely accurate. If they said that there were golden silk leopards here, then there must be one. On the 3rd day, they still couldn't find any. Night Sorrow hunted a brown bear and cooked it for Tianyu. After Tianyu finished eating, Night Sorrow brought him to drink some water. Suddenly, Tianyu flapped his wings and turned to look in another direction. He even let out a cry at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow's body tensed up. He felt a dangerous aura. It was just an intuition. Following Tianyu's gaze, Night Sorrow found the source of the danger. 2 golden silk leopards appeared in his field of vision. Night Sorrow couldn't see the cultivation level of the golden silk leopards. However, he knew that they weren't simple. The golden silk leopards were much bigger than ordinary leopards. Even a tamed lion wouldn't be as big as them. Tianyu, help me block one of them. Don't fight them head-on. Pay attention to your safety. If you can't handle it, fly away. Night Sorrow instructed Tianyu. With a stomp of his feet, he rushed to the right. Night Sorrow's stomp contained a force of several thousand jin. The stone under his feet was smashed into pieces. Night Sorrow's body also rushed out. As he rushed forward, Night Sorrow took out his reincarnation spear and aimed it at the head of the golden silk leopard. When Night Sorrow attacked, Tianyu also moved. He spread his wings and soared 3 to 4 zhang into the air. He pounced towards the other golden silk leopard. His 2 sharp claws were his sharp weapons. His target was the head of the golden silk leopard. Seeing Night Sorrow's attack, the golden silk leopard on the right leaped up. It dodged Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear and pounced towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow used the dragon leap steps and dodged the attack of the male golden silk leopard. He dodged to the side of the golden silk leopard and swung his arms. The reincarnation spear smashed down. How did he know that the golden silk leopard was male? Because when it pounced, Night Sorrow saw its obvious male characteristics. Night Sorrow still underestimated the golden silk leopard. The golden silk leopard swung its body and easily dodged Night Sorrow's attack. It roared angrily and once again pounced towards Night Sorrow. In its eyes, Night Sorrow's cultivation level of the 2nd level of element gathering tier was insignificant. Seeing Night Sorrow continuously attack it with his spear, the golden silk leopard felt provoked. Night Sorrow used the dragon leap steps and once again dodged the golden silk leopard's attack. However, it was very dangerous this time. The robe on Night Sorrow's shoulder was torn by the male golden silk leopard. This caused Knight Sorrow to be extremely shocked. Fortunately, he had practiced the dragon leap steps previously. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to dodge the golden silk leopard's attack and would have long since become its food. Knight Sorrow could still dodge, but his attacks all missed. This golden silk leopard's speed was too fast. Without any other choice, Knight Sorrow took out the sky-piercing spear. Chapter 108. The golden silk leopard's speed was too fast. After the first attack, it immediately turned around and attacked again, giving Knight Sorrow no chance to attack. After the golden silk leopard attacked again, Knight Sorrow rushed in the opposite direction to increase the distance between them. He then turned around and threw out the sky-piercing spear with his left hand. The sky-piercing spear rushed towards the golden silk leopard with a black light. The golden silk leopard paused and roared. Its left front paw slapped towards the sky-piercing spear. Bang! T% positive. W Edition 7 first release. The sky-piercing spear was sent flying by the golden silk leopard's left front paw. It flew for more than 10 zhang and stabbed into an ancient tree. Its tail was shaking non-stop. Similarly, the golden silk leopard's left front paw was also cut by the sky-piercing spear and its bones were shattered. After being injured, the golden silk leopard's speed decreased. The difference between jumping with 3 legs and jumping with 4 legs was huge. It was not as simple as losing 1 leg. It lost its balance. Seizing the opportunity, Knight Sorrow jumped up and stabbed the reincarnation spear towards the head of the male golden silk leopard. Roar! With a furious roar, the golden silk leopard's right front paw slapped towards the reincarnation spear. The true chi in Knight Sorrow's dantian exploded, and all 36 vibrating forces were poured into the spear. He then continued to stab forward. He did not have the extra energy to watch the battle between Tianyu and the other golden silk leopard. Only by killing this golden silk leopard would he have the chance to help Tianyu. Bang! The golden silk leopard's right front paw slapped onto the reincarnation spear, but it was shaken off. Knight Sorrow's reincarnation spear was shaken off by half a foot. Knight Sorrow exerted all his strength and continued to stab forward. If he could not stab the head, then he would stab the mouth. Poochie! The reincarnation spear stabbed into the golden silk leopard's upper and lower jaw. Knight Sorrow took a step forward and kicked with his left leg, bending the golden silk leopard's right front paw that was supporting its body. He then stomped on the golden silk leopard's front paw and shook his arms. He wanted to use the reincarnation spear to crush the golden silk leopard's mouth. This male golden silk leopard suffered a fatal attack. Its front paws were not strenuous, and its hind legs kicked forward and bent backwards. It tried to escape from Knight Sorrow's attack. Yi Shan's hands moved forcefully, and his left foot stepped firmly on the golden silk leopard's right front paw. The golden silk leopard's body slid, and slid. Spear with the reincarnation spear with the reincarnation spear with the spear. Was penetrated the spear pierced through the body. After its head was pierced, the golden silk leopard stopped moving. Knight Tianyu's sharp claws gripped the back and neck of another golden silk leopard tightly. She pecked into the mouth of the female golden silk leopard that was trying to bite back, making it unable to close its mouth. Knight Sorrow pulled out the reincarnation spear and put the male golden silk leopard's corpse into his storage ring. Once a demonic beast died, its blood would quickly coagulate. Most of the essence in its blood would be lost. Although he couldn't control the coagulation of the blood by putting it into his storage ring, he could delay it for a period of time. Knight Sorrow retrieved the sky-piercing spear that was sent flying by the male golden silk leopard. He carried the reincarnation spear and went to Tianyu's side. He waved the reincarnation spear and pierced it into the female golden silk leopard's neck. He then shook the spear twice and cut off the female golden silk leopard's neck tendons. This removed the thread of its mouth to Tianyu. He didn't want to make a big wound and let the blood flow out. Young sect master, come quickly. It's here. The white flying demonic beast is here. A few men walked out of the forest. A middle-aged man walked out of the forest with a few young men. Shortly after, a flying demonic beast appeared and landed. It was a green-winged eagle. It was the same green-winged eagle that Night Sorrow met on his way to Dan Ding City from Red Flame City. Golden silk leopard, haha. It's so easy to get one. A young man wearing a brocade robe floated down from the back of the green-winged eagle. Kid, you have a good life, but your luck isn't that good. I want this golden silk leopard and that flying demonic beast. The young man wearing the brocade robe walked over and stopped 10 meters away from Night Sorrow. The others followed behind him. Who are you people? Night Sorrow could tell that this group of people didn't come with good intentions. They wanted to rob him without asking any questions. Where did this hothead come from? I'm Miao Xiaoyun. You should have heard of me, right? Get out of my way, or I'll break your limbs and make you beg for death. Then, I'll feed you with poisonous snakes and insects for a few days. Miao Xiaoyun pointed at Night Sorrow with a sinister smile on his face. Night Sorrow's mind was spinning rapidly. He was definitely not a match for these people, especially that middle-aged man. It was hard to say how strong he was, but he might be able to compete with his senior brothers and sisters. However, he couldn't run away either. The other party had a flying demonic beast. Night Sorrow didn't know the cultivation level of the green-winged eagle and how fast it was. He didn't know if it was faster than Tianyu. You have to be reasonable. I killed the golden silk leopard. You guys came and tried to rob me. Isn't that unreasonable? Night Sorrow said. He knew that it was useless to reason with these people. He wanted to wait until the golden silk leopard under Tianyu's claws died so that he could keep it. Living things couldn't be kept in storage rings. You're too naive. The weak are prey to the strong. This is the rule of the Greenwater Marsh. This is the rule of the Great Desolate. Do you understand now? Miao Xiaoyun took 2 steps forward and sneered. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back and stood beside Tianyu. He was waiting for an opportunity to put the golden silk leopard into his storage ring. It wasn't that Night Sorrow was greedy. He had no other choice. The Myriad Dao scripture required a lot of energy to reach the 3rd stage of the bone-tempering realm from the 2nd stage of the muscle-strengthening realm. The leopard muscle-strengthening pill was the best supplementary pill. Night Sorrow didn't even know if the blood of 2 golden silk leopards was enough. How could he leave one behind? When Night Sorrow retreated to Tianyu's side, Tianyu got off the golden silk leopard's body. The golden silk leopard was already dead. With a wave of his arm, Night Sorrow put the golden silk leopard into his storage ring. Next, he shook his reincarnation spear and charged towards Miao Xiaojun. He knew that Miao Xiaojun was the key. Young sect master, be careful. His blood and qi are very vigorous. The middle-aged man reminded Miao Xiaojun. You don't have to worry about him. Watch how I kill him. Miao Xiaojun waved his left hand behind him, telling the people near him to retreat. Then, he waved his long sword with his right hand and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Night Sorrow transferred the energy in his body to the tip of the reincarnation spear. The true qi in his dantian released vibrating energy and transmitted it into the reincarnation spear. He then continued to stab towards Miao Xiaojun. Ding! With a crisp sound, Miao Xiaojun's unprepared weapon was shaken off. Even his arm was shaken off. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear was also shaken off by 2 qi. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.